Investors, welcome back to Green Money Momentum. I'm your host, Trevor, and we are live once again for another quarterly earnings report, this time with one of my favorite companies. You see them being repped on my t-shirt here. That is Robinhood. So today we have Robinhood's highly anticipated Q1 2026 earnings, and as promised, we are going live for this earnings. Just yesterday, we talked about a preparation for how we are kind of anticipating this earnings, and this is going to be a very highly anticipated earnings with Wall Street. A lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air today around OpenAI. And what is funny is Robinhood actually does give investors access to invest into OpenAI. That is through the RVI, that is the Robinhood Ventures Fund Index, and they just recently took a stake in OpenAI, which is very interesting because today, again, a lot of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt was around OpenAI. But myself, I am not at all concerned about anything that the bears are talking about online. We have a very interesting earnings report coming here just 5 minutes after the markets close. So we are going to see that here in 13 minutes. When we do look at the long-term technical analysis, we look at the last year with Robinhood, we are sitting at a very interesting spot right now because we have been in a very nasty downtrend going all the way back to October of 2025. Things were looking super bullish with Robinhood and the markets before that time period. We saw a face rip and rally when it came to Liberation Day, April 8th of 2025. We were valued just around $30, and Robinhood at one point skyrocketed all the way up to $150. Now here in the short term, again, we have had a decent downtrend, now down by close to 50% from the all-time highs around $152. At one point, we did actually drop by 50% plus within Robinhood. So we had crazy volatility towards the upside and the downside. And now we are at a very interesting spot because it does appear that we may be breaking out of this downtrend. At the very top of this downtrend, we do have support to go higher, to say, when we look at the relative strength index and on the MACD. The RSI currently sitting with a reading of 53, and then the MACD has been pushing up bullish most recently. And I do believe that the earnings report today is going to be bullish. When we do look at the expectations for this first quarter with Robinhood, Wall Street is expecting for $1 billion quarterly. Absolutely tremendous. When we do look at the progression with Robinhood, this is why I talk about this company so often. It is because of the accelerating revenue and everything that this company is doing to progress the financial markets. Robinhood is truly Robinhood. I know many hate on Robinhood because of what happened back in the day with GameStop. Robinhood gets a lot of heat from that, although it wasn't just Robinhood in that scenario. There were other brokerages that were also limiting trading, but many have hated Robinhood since that point. But when we look at the current day of Robinhood, everything that they are doing for traders is so liberating. And recently, since Q4 of 2024, they've started to hit some $1 billion quarterlies. They are expected to have a $1 billion quarterly once again. What I love about Robinhood is this company has so many different features. So Robinhood is not just the brokerage side of the platform, not just trading and selling stocks. You can also do that with cryptocurrency. You also have the predictions market. You have Robinhood Bank, Robinhood Credit Card, and Robinhood has Robinhood Cortex now, which is AI on the platform. They are expecting to do more advancements with that going into 2027. So in my opinion, these are just the early days of Robinhood. Currently with a market cap of 73 billion. We have been up to 73 billion. We have been up to 100 billion in the past, and in my opinion, a very forward looking thought, looking at the next 10 years, I do believe that Robinhood could eventually reach into $1 trillion market cap. And so Today, we are going to get the quarterly results. I am expecting for these quarterly results to come here on the website first. This will be the first of 2026. So right now, I'm not seeing anywhere where I could preview the earnings, but hopefully the site updates as soon as they do release that, as soon as we get the actual release of the earnings. And as always, earnings are a two-part scenario. There's two parts to every earnings, and that is first the initial earnings, and then after that, you do get the guidance call shortly after. So when we do look at Robinhood just preparing for these earnings right now, we're going to take a look here in a second. So thank you to everybody who is here early. We will see them officially report earnings here in 10 minutes, but we're going to take a look here at the weekly gamma exposure just in a second. Take a look at where a lot of the dealers may be positioned. As you can see, I have a bracket here, and that is because if we do go over to the gamma exposure levels, if we do go look at the options market, we could see there's a lot of call gamma and put gamma around some major levels. So a lot of call gamma right around $90. And then when we look at the puts, a lot of bears are hoping that hood drops back down to about $78. So the reason why we're looking at gamma exposure here, and the reason why gamma exposure can be important, is because with gamma, these could be seen as the real major levels of support and resistance, because this is where a lot of the dealers are positioned. And so the biggest levels looking to me right now, the biggest here is that 90 level. And so this may act as a major support / pin zone. Again, this is where a lot of the dealers are positioned in the options market. And so today with the volatility, I am expecting some moves around these levels. If we do go to the downside, what the bears want to see back into the downtrend right around maybe $78, filling this gap is something that I could see. But Robinhood, again, a very bullish company, one of my favorite long-term holds, because Robinhood is amazing with their catalysts, and the actual insiders of Robinhood, Vlad and the others, actually love investors, despite what a lot of investors feel from back in the day with GME. They are always giving out bullish catalysts, bullish news, and bullish future guidance, which we are looking for from this earnings call that is coming up. It's going to be very interesting to see if they say anything about Cortex, if they say anything about the predictions market or Robinhood Social. That is another feature that we may be seeing soon to the Robinhood platform. So with that being a major level of gamma right there, right around $90, if buyers step in really strong, we could see a bit of a gamma squeeze. I'm not saying the ultimate gamma squeeze from the GameStop days. I'm not saying anything like that. But if things do look bullish, I do expect that we could break to $90 and then possibly past that level, and hopefully maybe this week reach into that $100 zone, which if we do zoom out was a major level of support for Robinhood for a long time. So let's see if we can get back to that spot. It could be either a resistance or a support zone. Now taking a look here at the live chat, thank you to everybody who is here. We have Bo in the know saying that Robinhood is a scam and going to zero. You effing idiot. Well, I would not say that Robinhood is a scam, Mr. Bo in the know. I mean, I would not consider what I am using here on screen. This is Robinhood's platform. I would not consider this to be a scam. And again, there is a lot of money within Robinhood. It has a market cap currently at 70 billion. So again, if we're talking about levels where it could reach to, I am not expecting for Bo to be correct here. I don't believe that this is a scam, and I don't believe that we are going to drop all the way back to zero. That is so funny. If anything, again, I'm expecting for the levels today to be right between 90, and if things do look ugly, we could drop into the higher 70s. When we just look at net gamma, take away the call gamma and the put gamma, and just look at gamma overall, these could be again seen as the major clusters where a lot of options are looking to expire later this week. So some major levels of support and resistance. Stephanie Diaz, thank you for joining the live stream. As always, you are a longtime subscriber of this channel. Wonderful to see you here for Robinhood's earnings. I think I saw you commenting on my video yesterday about Robinhood, and I believe you've told me in the past you are in Robinhood, so great to see you here. I am expecting a positive earnings here. Let's see if the calls could be great here. Again, we have a lot of gamma exposure, a lot of cluster at $90. There's always the chance that if buyers really step in, we could break past that level, possibly getting closer to the next level of gamma, which is right around $100. And Big Bear AI up by 10% today. I know Two Wheels, I was watching Big Bear as well, and a very positive day for Big Bear overall. Again, there was a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt in the air today, especially around OpenAI. But Big Bear AI, wow, let's go, baby. Woo! A big explosion. I know you're winning with me, Two Wheels. Let's go, brother. That is great to see. Last time I looked at Big Bear, because I was preparing for this live stream with Robinhood, it was just breaking into that level of 4. So now at 412, let's just take a look here at the gamma exposure on Big Bear. We'll get back to Robinhood here in just a second, as they are releasing earnings here in about 4 minutes. But this is another interesting play when we do look at gamma exposure with Big Bear AI, and when we do look at the weekly expirations. As you can see, there is a massive level of gamma here at $4, and so we are breaking past this point, and the dealers may continue to buy into that Big Bear, into a positive gamma territory. Now, going back to Robinhood again, amazing to see that. Thank you for joining, as always, Two Wheels Pursue, another longtime subscriber of this channel who has basically been at every single live stream since we really started to getting going about a month ago. So great to see you there. Stephanie welcoming Two Wheels says, yo, hi, Stephanie. I live in the hood. I like that. I like to make some jokes when it does come to Robinhood, because their name here is funny, Hood. I always say that the hood is going to make so many rich, right? But when hood goes down, there are probably more that are in the hood at that point. And then I'm in Scottsdale, AZ for the next week. Oh, that is exciting, Stephanie. Yes, I know that you are out here in Arizona. You have told me that before. So great to see that you're out here in Scottsdale. Are you going to do anything fun while out here? As you know, I'm located out here in Tempe, Arizona. A beautiful state that Arizona is, and the weather right now is wonderful. By the way, we're going to flip now to the daily chart with Robinhood. Let's go. We're getting a big push here. But again, this is just volatility that is expected when it comes to earnings reports. They haven't officially released their earnings just yet, so it is coming in 2 minutes. So just because we are seeing a beautiful green candle right now, whoa, let's go. It's exciting. I get excited, but just because we're seeing this right now, again, guys, the earnings has yet to come out, so we're going to see that here soon. Maybe there is anticipation for a big earnings, but just know that volatility like this is always present with these earnings. There could be a big pump, a big dump, and then we may see a big pump with the guidance call after. Anything really is possible. It is really snobby but nice. Back in 1991, lived there. I had a girlfriend who worked for AT&T. I just signed up with AT&T and had this really posh apartment on a golf course in Scottsdale. I love golf. I do too. It's a great sport. I'm heavy on Robin both directions, all in options. Let's go. I love the options market because of all the volatility and leverage that it does provide. I'm long on Big Bear AI and Hood. Well, same here, my friend. It's great to see you here again. Woo, woo, like Ric Flair. Woo. OMG, OMG, let's go, Stephanie Diaz. Yes, exciting stuff. We're going to get the official earnings released here in just 1 minute. So let's see if this candlestick can push up. Again, we got major levels of gamma right around that $78 mark, and then also right around $90. So what I am hoping for, I'm a bull on Robinhood. This is one of my long-term positions. I am hoping to see Robinhood reach 290 by this week. So let's hope. Biting the nails, huh, Stephanie? And then my wife trades with a Robinhood account. You know, Robinhood is so liberating. The platform is so beautiful, and it looks like earnings was just released, and ouch. Look at that right there. Again, guys, this is why we're talking about the volatility. Whoa, looks like something ugly has maybe been released here in the earnings. But again, guys, this goes so quick. So volatility when it comes to earnings is always very heavy. We could have a big jump like we saw, a big drop, and then we could see a big push. This candlestick just came out, so there is still the possibility that we do still finish in the 80s. But again, guys, let's look at those major levels of gamma. If the bears get their way, they want to see this weekly expo right around 77 to 75. So some bears right now, I'm sure, are celebrating a bit of a drop here, but that is all okay. We're going to see, have they actually released the earnings? Let's take a look here. Quarterly results. So it's not here on the website yet. Let's see if on Earnings Hub we do have that. Give me just a second, guys. Go to Robinhood's earnings. Usually Earnings Hub is a bit delayed, and then I don't know what to do with my options. They're up. They are blowing up. Yeah, right now Robinhood blowing up here in the after hours. So looks like something was released here in this earnings report that maybe some did not like on Wall Street. If you're freaking out right now, I would just say don't freak out too much. You know, the markets are, they're a game of ups and downs. So overall, I am not worried just yet. We'll get back to the price action in just a second. I'm just responding to a text here. I have a business outside of this channel, as you guys know. So I'm just responding to that. So give me just un momento, everybody. Let's go back to the price action. Give me a second here. Wow, what a drop we have seen right now. It looks like Robinhood down by about 7%. Oh, it looks like I removed it off screen. Look at that. Oof. Nasty red candlestick going down to this downtrend. Again, when we talked about this earlier, we are still at the top of this downtrend. So right now, Robinhood getting shot. Unfortunately, like we were talking about gamma exposure levels, it looks like the bears may get what they want, which is to return back to these levels around 77, 79. And ideally, a lot of bears would like to see that spot at 74. Right now, Robinhood fighting for its life, down by 7.91%. A massive red candlestick here. And then I have a Charles Schwab account. And then, whoa, Stephanie, thank you so much. Wow. Wow. Thank you so much, Trevor. I am up 200% because of you. God bless you. You are a real one. Just closed my short. Wow, Stephanie. Wow. Thank you so much. A $300 super chat from Stephanie Diaz, a longtime subscriber of this channel. Stephanie, thank you so much. I really appreciate that support. I appreciate you being here for the live earnings today. And I am so happy that you made some money on your position here. Wow, that is incredible. You know, I've never even made $300 a month in a month from YouTube. When I do look at my YouTube ad revenue, wow, Stephanie, thank you so much. When I look at my YouTube ad revenue, this is so funny. Let's look at the last 365 days. So for the last 365 days, so for a whole year of work on YouTube, it has produced me $755. You've basically just paid half of that, Stephanie. Thank you so much for that super chat. Let me know if there is anything I could do for you, Stephanie. If you have any requests, if there's anything that, wow, that is, thank you so much, seriously. And then, wow, Stephanie, that is excellent work. Way to go. Yeah, we'll leave that here on the stream here for just a second. A positive here in the negative for the bulls. Robinhood currently back down to $77. So getting shot here with the initial earnings report. Let's see if we have any update here when it comes to their website. Currently on Earnings Hub, we still don't have an update to see how they came in at. Again, we'll have that live earnings call at 2 p.m., so stay tuned for that. Let's see if we got an update here on their website. So it does look like now we officially have the 2026 tab. We're going to have the investor presentation soon. We do have the earnings webcast, the press release. Let's take a look here at the press release. So Robinhood reports their first quarter 2026 results. Revenues up 15% year over year year to 1.7 billion. So again, just like we were talking about, the expectations were for them to come in at their expectations. They actually came in a bit lower than what Wall Street was expecting. Wall Street was expecting 1.14 billion. Looks like Robinhood came in a bit short at 1.07. Again, I have a very long-term vision on Robinhood, so still coming in with a $1 billion quarterly. That is massive, but just slightly missing on Wall Street's expectations. So I'm just writing this down, putting some notes. So slightly missed there. Revenues still up year over year. So when we still look at the YOY growth, still up 15% year over year. So still having long-term growth. Again, a big reason why I am investing into Robinhood, because of the long-term growth with Robinhood. Net deposits were 18 billion, a 22% annualized growth rate. That's wonderful to see. And then diluted EPS up 3% year over year to 38 cents. Let's see what the expectations for EPS were at 39 cents. So they slightly missed on EPS. They slightly missed on that revenue. Again, Stephanie, I'm just looking at the super chat here. I did not expect a $300 super chat today. I did not expect to make more than $2 on this live stream. So you are awesome. Thank you so much. That is genuinely so appreciated. And then 30K. Wow. Is that what you made here on your shorts, Stephanie? You made 30K. Trevor, you let me on to that short. It printed for me. Love you. Thank you. I win because of you. Well, love you too. Thank you so much. And that is amazing to see, Stephanie, that you made 30 bands on Robinhood shorting it. Again, I'm on the bullish side, but I'm super happy that you made some money with shorting. We were talking about short-term shorting a little bit most recently, you know, and if you're able to look at the markets both ways transparently, this is where you can make some big money, just like Stephanie Diaz did. And it's time to get an 8-ball and party. Yeah, no, with $300. Sheesh, Stephanie, you're out here in Arizona. We got to get together. I'll take you out. We could go to a steakhouse or something like that. Wow, that is amazing. But man, look at this right here. We were just talking about the gamma exposure levels, how they could sit as major levels of support and resistance. So just like anything with the markets, you know, always take everything with a grain of salt. Nothing is an absolute certainty. But when we do look, again, we go to the gamma exposure levels. Incredible how accurate these worked as levels of support and resistance today. So at the highest, we bulls were expecting to possibly get up to 90. And at the lowest, we were expecting for, again, these levels, 75, 77, 79, right around 80 to also act as major levels of support if the bears got their way, which today they did. But you know what? Even though I am long on Robinhood, it appears that Stephanie here was short on Robinhood and she supported the channel. So again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, Stephanie. I absolutely love doing this. As all of you know, I am never looking to extract any money out of my audience. I'm never trying to sell you guys any courses. I'm never trying to anything like that. I genuinely just do this for the passion, for the fun of it. I feel most live when I am going live. And so this to me is so much fun. But I'm so happy, Stephanie, that you made the money there and just the want to donate to me. So thank you so much again, Stephanie, for that. And then Minder Binders. And so yeah, again, just looking at those levels of gamma, crazy how much they really acted as pretty strong levels of support and resistance. Now we are right at the top of that downtrend. Again, earnings are a two-part scenario. You have chapter 1, you have chapter 2. In my opinion, I know Wall Street has sold some Robinhood here for the first part of the earnings. You know, they didn't come in right where expectations were set, but Wall Street is a spoiled brat. Wall Street does this very often where they set such high expectations. These companies still come in with great quarterlies, and then there could be a bit of a sell-off. But when we just look at the numbers here again, revenue up 15% year over year to 107 billion, diluted EPS up 3% year over year. So there is still growth, and net deposits were 18 billion. That is massive right here. Let's go down more and just take a look at some other things here with what they have released. And so transaction-based revenues, we've talked a lot about this, how Robinhood does earn a lot off of order flow. So transaction-based revenues increased 7% year over year to 623 million, primarily driven by other transaction revenue of 147 million, up 320%, which primarily consists of event contract revenue, options revenue of 260 million, up 8%, and equities revenue of 82 million, up 46%, partially offset by cryptocurrencies revenue of 134 million. Maybe this is a big reason also why we saw a sell-off here. The cryptocurrencies revenue at 134 million, down 47%. You know, crypto has been being slaughtered a lot here in the short term, but when we do talk about stocks and cryptocurrencies and any asset, you know, there are moments where things are bullish, then there are cool down periods and sell-offs, and then again, the markets are cynical. These are cycles. And so in the short term, of course, cryptocurrency has hurt many, especially those who did not follow the trading rules that we talk about never getting over leveraged, always having proper risk management. You know, Bitcoin has had a hard sell-off through Q1 of this year, so I am not surprised. Also other cryptocurrencies as well, but I am not surprised by that. And to me, again, this is actually positive because the markets work in two senses a lot for traders, and that is what? Fear of missing out, and then fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And with fear, uncertainty, and doubt, when it does flip back into fear of missing out, this is when we could see a lot of push within the markets, a lot more order flow, and cryptocurrency can really start to print, especially once we get a new federal chairman here next month, which is expected. If he does what President Trump wants, which is cut, and print, baby, print, we could see a massive push up in the entire sector of cryptocurrency. If we really start to see that quantitative easing, and then their net interest revenues increased 24% year over year. So overall, other revenues increased 50% year over year to 85 million, primarily driven by Robinhood Gold subscription revenue of 50 million, up 32%. So about everything here is looking positive to me, other than the one negative here, which is just cryptocurrency having a bit of a drop, down by 47%. Robinhood here in the short term, in terms of price action, has been pretty correlated with cryptocurrency. So we have seen quite the sell-off in Robinhood in the short term since October, and a lot of that has been in correlation with cryptocurrency. But again, this is positive to me because crypto is so volatile, and if they're down 47% for the order flow in crypto when crypto has barely even crashed, again, we still have a very elevated price on Bitcoin around 70,000. I feel that we've gone through a cool down period with all of that, with all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, with all the negativity right now within the markets. Robinhood, you know, when all of that flips from fear, uncertainty, and doubt to FOMO, Robinhood could see a big increase in revenue across the board once all that order flow enters back in to the cryptocurrency markets. And it's funny because, you know, here in the short term, so many are long-term bearish on the markets. You know, if you just scroll YouTube, you get so many nasty thumbnails, so many nasty articles. Again, today, a perfect example of that with OpenAI. So many are fearful. So many are thinking that the Strait of Hormuz is going to be the end of the world. Everyone is scared about food shortages. Everyone is scared about oil, about the cost of living, all of that. And I understand. I'm not saying that those aren't valid concerns, but we got to remember that the markets are not the economy. There is Main Street and Wall Street. And while Main Street is freaking out, what is Wall Street looking at? They are looking at brand new all-time highs. We are seeing crazy pumps across the board. We just saw AMD most recently reach into a period of all-time high, and Wall Street is watching what the president is doing and what the Federal Reserve is doing. Now, the Fed meeting is going to be tomorrow, I do believe. Yeah, tomorrow is going to be the next big FOMC meeting, and so with this should be the last meeting we get with Jerome Powell. And Many investors are fearful of this meeting, but I really think that this is a time when we could just zoom out and look at the big picture, because if this is the last meeting with Jerome Powell, well, we should get a new federal chairman here this next month, and then the next FOMC meeting will be the month after that. There should be more bullish sentiment within the markets. And when we do just talk about the crisis that we are seeing, the gas and energy and food and all of this, everything war, think about it. A lot of the times when it comes to inflation, how does it really go? It usually first goes into consumer goods, goes into energy, goes into what we have to pay for at the grocery store. What happens right after that? A lot of that inflation then goes into assets. And so here in the short term, even though we are at all-time highs in the markets are a bit depressed. Again, we have had quite the sell-off since last year, a lot in technology and AI. And it's funny because, again, today there was a lot of fear, uncertainty, and doubt about OpenAI, all the funding that OpenAI does require. But really, when you look at OpenAI, they are just preparing for the future. And a lot of people are really short-term minded, not thinking that the markets can bounce back. But I'm not going to miss my opportunities by selling out of my favorite assets such as Robinhood, even if there is some more short-term bleeding. And again, it's crazy. We marked out these levels before the earnings report was even actually announced. We have right here, right around $75. And again, look at how accurate this has been. This just shows that these levels of gamma exposure act as major walls of support and resistance. A hard sell-off with Robinhood right around 75, but now starting to see some support around these levels. Let's remember that earnings are a two-part scenario. We just went through the actual earnings report. We're looking at it right now, and in my opinion, earnings are still positive. They didn't quite meet Wall Street's expectations here, but again, still coming in with a pretty decent quarterly overall. It hasn't quite updated here on Earnings Hub, but despite having a bit of a retraction, this company overall year over year is still having tremendous growth. And when we do just look at the markets in general, I am very excited for the new federal chairman. I am also excited for the elimination of the PDT trading rule, the midterms later this year, and all the reasons to be bullish on the markets. But again, if you listen to certain YouTubers or certain news articles, they will tell you all the reasons to be bearish and that this is the end of the world. Let's take a look here at their cash and cash equivalents. So totaled $5 billion compared with $4.4 billion the end of quarter one of 2025. So even more money on their balance sheet. And then I like RVI. So do I. Talking about OpenAI, this is a good time to switch over to RVI. This is the Robinhood Ventures Fund. And so with this, you get access to companies that have yet to go public, which I think is massive. And again, this is why I absolutely love Robinhood, and I am investing for the long term. I am not at all freaked out by what we just saw here. Let's say that Robinhood does stay depressed. Let's say their guidance call is not positive or just enough to bring the stock back to, say, $80. If we remain in the range that we were talking about, that is fine. That is just short-term thinking. I am looking at Robinhood for the long term, including on this right here, which is RVI. Absolutely insane. Robinhood really is Robinhood, giving so many of us access to financial derivatives, financial assets that we as retail have never had in the past. So the RVI fund does give a lot of access to a lot of different companies that are currently private. When we do look at what is currently in the RVI fund, you have Databricks, Revolut, Mercer, Airwallex, Boom Supersonic, Aura, Ramp. You have some cash and cash equivalents. And then also they are now partnering up with OpenAI. Again, when we talk about modern monetary theory, I know so many are fearful because of all the spending, of all the funding, of all the investing needed in OpenAI. But these companies, everyone who is investing into OpenAI is looking at this with a long-term vision. Yeah, I know OpenAI is loaded up with debt, but for a good reason. Just think about how much AI is already changing our lives. AI has been doing so much, and so much value to OpenAI. And then Chrisan the mom says, hello, everyone. Hello, Chrisan. Thank you for joining us here in the live stream. My friend, wondering where you have been most recently. The last couple of live streams, we did not see you there. So it's great to see you here once again, Chrisan. Still invested into the market, still a fan of this channel. We always love the energy that you provide to these live streams. If you just joined us here, Chrisan, we did officially get Robinhood's earnings, and they did come in lower than what Wall Street was expecting. But I know you've been with us for other earnings calls, and it's always a two-part scenario, 2 quarters to the game to say. And getting a call here. Give me a second. 2 quarters to the game here. We'll get back to that here in a bit. But 2 quarters to the game. You got the first quarter, which is the official earnings being released. And then after that, you get the earnings call, the guidance call, which is going to be here in about 30 minutes. And then Two Wheels does say hi to Chrisan. Also, Chrisan, I want to say that the earnings, in my opinion, were actually positive. But we do know that Wall Street can tend to be spoiled brats. And with that, they did come in a bit lower than what Wall Street was expecting in terms of revenue, and then just slightly also missed with EPS. But we'll have their live earnings here. That's going to be at 2 o'clock my time. So that's going to be here in about 30 minutes. But yeah, we were just talking about RVI and then also OpenAI, and I got some memes here for you guys. You know, I always like to show the memes. So this is funny right here looking at AI. Is this a good investment? AI says, yes, this is a great investment. And then afterwards, he's all devastated. You're right to be frustrated. My mistake. This was not a good investment. Would you like to learn more about market risk? And then also, I want to point this out here. This is another important meme to look at, because you have before the technical analysis, you know, you have the RSI, you have the macros. This is where, like I've been saying most recently, there are so many macro people that are pissed off right now. I do focus on the macros. You guys know, you guys who are in here right now. And again, seriously, from the bottom of my heart, I always appreciate every single one of you who do join me on these live streams. All of you longtime subscribers. By the way, positive for this channel. This last week, I've actually gained 10 new subscribers. So we are starting to see some growth on this channel, and we are going to continue to go live to continue to grow this channel. But to everyone who is here, Two Wheels, Stephanie, Chrisan, anyone else watching, I really do appreciate your guys' long-term support. So going back to that meme real quick, I just want to say it's so funny when we do look at this, because again, I do follow the macros. Again, I have seen that CPI is hot, PPI is hot. I am expecting for the inflation prints to come out hot again this month. I am expecting for Jerome Powell to probably piss on the markets tomorrow and say nothing that is positive. But I'm looking at the long term with the markets, and it's so funny because the macro guys could point out a million reasons why the markets should be shot. They could say the Strait of Hormuz is a terrible bottleneck, where there's a bottleneck going on because of everything that is happening. You have this big war. You have, oh my gosh, all this funding with OpenAI. Oh, we're in this big bubble. A million reasons to be negative in the short term. But even during a moment where everything does look so negative, GDP does look so weak, inflation looks so hot, well, I would ask those bears, why are we at brand new all-time highs? That's what I would say. And I know a lot of bears want to see this gap get filled. They want to see us return back to these levels down here of consolidation. It's possible. It's possible that we do also fill this gap. I'm not ruling out that those scenarios are possible, but also I personally believe, this is just my bullish take, I don't believe that we are going to return back to these levels, because again, with what we recently saw with the markets, it kind of shows that macros are not the most important thing. They're good to watch. I do like to pay attention to the macros. I think it is important, CPI, PPI, all the government statistics, but also this game is both technical analysis, fundamental analysis, and above all, when we do look at the markets, we got to remember, above anything else, with all the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, like I'm sure some are seeing this right now, biting their teeth, losing their hair, all of that, we got to remember that the markets are basically a mechanism that is designed to go up because of all the 401k plans, because of all the retirement plans, because of the overall sentiment, to push it more bullish. And if the markets really start to freak out, if things really start to get bad, if we see this energy and oil crisis be the end of the world, if everything, gets, horrible, well, even in that scenario, what is beautiful to think about? At that point, the government and the Federal Reserve will print, baby print, and they will step in to save the day. Two Wheels Pursuit welcomes Chrison. I also welcome you, Chrison. Thanks for being here once again. And then, yes, Stephanie did make a $300 super chat. So let's go back to that real quick. Again, Stephanie, blessings to you. Thank you so much for the super chat. Whoa! You guys see that? You guys see that? There was a flash of green right there. We do got a big wick here. So again, earnings being a two-part scenario, anything can happen. Just because we've had this drop here in the short term doesn't mean that we can't go back up. But congratulations to Miss Stephanie Diaz once again being able to provide such a great wealthy super chat, because she did a short on Robinhood and she made what she said was 30K. So thank you again. That is amazing. And then you've been working like an animal. Well, hey, that is amazing, Chrison. Keep doing your thing. Keep working hard. You are doing the right things right now. If you're working and earning, you are also invested into these financial markets and also expanding your knowledge. As we always talk about, the more you learn, the more you earn. And I always appreciate seeing you here, Chrison, because I know you like my book recommendations. So give me one moment here. Might be out in my car, but if it's out here, I'm going to grab the book real quick. You know what? I'll just show it on screen. This is one that I have been reading. I believe this is in my car, but I've been reading. I just finished this book and I'm literally reading it for a second time around. So I've never really done this with a book. I've read books twice, but I've never read a book. And then as soon as I'm done with that book, just read it right again. So this book right here, Think and Grow Rich, a wonderful book. This book right here, is not just about finances. That's what I really like, but it's overall perspective and just, just so much to it. So Think and Grow Rich, a wonderful book. I really recommend that to all. A great book when it comes to perfecting your mindset. And let's see, Angelo Revival. I think this is the first time we've seen you here in one of our live streams. So my friend, thank you for joining us. It looks like Anglo is in pain here in the short term, saying, ouch, that hurt my heart. Well, don't worry. This is still a two-quarter game. We could still have a comeback here in the second half. It's all going to depend on what the earnings call does look like with Robinhood. But what I do love about Robinhood, why this is one of my favorite companies, is because they are typically very bullish with their guidance, with the news and catalysts that they do give to investors. And so in 30 minutes here, we are going to get that earnings call, and possibly this might just be a buy the dip moment right here, because now in the daily we are beat down on the RSI and the MACD, so we could see a reversal right back to the norm, and then possibly just see what ends up being a flat earnings report with some excitement, some price action. If you're like Stephanie, making 30K and then being able to donate a $300 super chat, Stephanie definitely looks like she took advantage of the movements today. But say you were asleep for this or you missed it, again, this might just go right back to the norm here. But I do want to point this out, Chris on the Mom, because I know that you value the information on this channel. Something that's very interesting is earlier we were looking at the levels of gamma exposure. Basically what gamma exposure is this is just where dealers are positioned, where a lot of hedging can happen, and basically where a lot of options contracts are set to expire, right around where the break-even prices can lie. So we do have a lot of heavy bullish gamma, a lot of bullish contracts right around $90. So this could be acting as a level of resistance here for this week, but also we do have a lot of put gamma right around the dollar amounts right under $80, with some high gamma, some high put volume right around $78, right around $76. And funny enough, look at how accurate this ended up being. We dropped right to this point right here. So if the gamma clusters do work as major levels of support and resistance, again, I've already had this drawn out, I do believe that we could continue to remain in this level. And ideally, what I do want to see with Robinhood, again, I do have a long-term vision with this company, so I'm actually not too concerned in the short term. I would just like to see Robinhood officially break out of this downtrend that has been going on since October. And this is why I am so bullish on Robinhood also. This to me is a discount. This is a buy the dip opportunity see if you are able to zoom out, because we are down by about 50% from the highs that were set back in October. And I'm very, very bullish on Robinhood and all the order flow that we should be seeing in the overall market here for the second half of this year. But yeah, keep doing your thing, Chrison. Keep working hard, keep earning money, and keep growing that money. The green wick is me buying the dip. Oh man, you must have a lot of money there if you're causing that entire big green wick there, Two Wheels Way. I know you're retired, my friend, so I hope you are living that wonderful life. My DCA is under $20. Let's go. That's why you're retired, because you started getting into Robinhood right around $20. Now, Robinhood, I was watching it during these time periods back here, but I wasn't as involved into the markets. I really started to pick up Robinhood after we started to see the major retraction in 2025 and a lot of euphoric ROI that it did provide. And then I will get the book. Thank you. Yeah, I think it is a wonderful book. Chrison, again, talks about even more than just money. It talks about overall mindset, and there's just a lot of thought with that. Talks about faith, talks about mindset, talks about, implementing action, talks about a lot of great individuals within history that did great things. So Think and Grow Rich, a wonderful book with a lot of lessons. Now, going back to our discussion about RVI, this is the Robinhood Ventures Fund, and talking about the open AI situation. I want to talk away from the finances, because so many, again, I don't think they understand MMT, modern monetary theory, or they even understand Keynesian economics of, borrow now, worry about the future later on. I think some are just so short-term minded. They see these big debt numbers with OpenAI and don't even think about how much ChatGPT, OpenAI, these other AI platforms have already changed our lives. I mean, we've seen incredible progression. Again, as an investor today, oh my God, this is why I love Robinhood so much, and just all the brokerages, is as investors, as traders today, at this point, if you suck at this game, if you suck at investing, if you can't make long-term profits, it's because of you, because of all the access and tools that we have today. We not only have all of these different sites that we can go on, we just saw in live time here the quarterly earnings with Robinhood on just a few clicks of a button. Not only do we have all of that, but we also have these LLM language learning models, these open AI models, and these places where you could just ask simple investment questions and you will get loaded responses. And so this is a way how OpenAI, how ChatGPT has already changed our life. So let's just open up ChatGPT. This is how amazing it is and how easy it is for investors nowadays. So I've done a lot of studying. I've read a lot of books. I've watched a lot of videos, so on and so on, always trying to learn the financial markets. I love books, all of that, but things do not even get easier than they are today. So for example, right here, this is just how you can increase your knowledge with the market. So let's ask it a question. So is Robinhood stock diluting, or are they doing a share buyback program? This is all I have to ask, and then it's going to load me up with all this data here. So in the matter of seconds, Robinhood is doing buybacks. Woof, not broad net dilution right now. Another reason why we talk about Robinhood. I already knew the answer to this, but they are doing buybacks. So Robinhood is bullish on Robinhood. So if you are feeling bearish or scared right now, just know that Robinhood is bullish on Robinhood. Think like the insiders. They have a long-term vision with this company. This company is literally buying back their stock. But it's incredible nowadays, the access to these tools that we have. And so everyone talking about all the funding and cost that is involved with OpenAI, well, they are missing things such as this, how OpenAI, how these AI models are actually changing our lives. And for many companies, bringing down the actual cost when it comes to expenditure, when it comes to hiring employees, or the problem solving and the time it took previously to solve on problems. And then, hey, Trevor, thank you for all your work. Matt Gregory Guitar, been a while since I've seen you, my friend. Thank you for being here. Another longtime subscriber. Love to see you all here. Thank you so much for all your support on this channel. Once again, we just saw Robinhood's earnings, and in my opinion, they did come out as bullish, as positive. Overall looked great, but Wall Street is a spoiled brat. And so with the initial release of their earnings, there was a bit of a sell-off. One of our longtime subscribers, Stephanie Diaz, did take advantage. Stephanie Diaz says, yes, thank you so much. I am going to the Biltmore to celebrate. Trevor, I emailed you my phone number. Oh, okay, Stephanie. Well, hey, that is exciting. You know, if you missed it earlier, Stephanie gave us a $300 super chat, and it looks like Stephanie just sent me her phone number. So wow, Stephanie, thank you so much. And I think you should take Stephanie on that date, Trevor. I think so. I think I'll go see you out at the Biltmore later, Stephanie, with that 300 that you sent me. Let me go take you out to a steakhouse or something like that. Thank you again so much, and I will get to your email as soon as we are done here on the live stream. But Stephanie, I know you've said you're out here in Arizona, so that is awesome. I'm happy to hear that you're going to be out in the wonderful Biltmore later. And then real quick, again, I don't want to get too off of discussion here. Back to the thought about OpenAI and how it's changing our lives. I got to say this right here. I don't really play video games anymore, to be honest with you. But one thing that I do love is how AI is going to be changing, the landscape of video games. And so this was produced all with AI right here. And this is CJ from Grand Theft Auto back in the days of World War II. So we're going to have our first commercial break here. I'm going to let this clip run. But what I love about this right here, what I love about AI is how it is actually really changing the game when it does come to the video game industry, for sure. When we think about who controls the video game industry, a big reason why I got out of playing video games is because I'm a big fan of titles such as NBA 2K and Madden, these sport franchise games, right? But those who own them, you know, 2K and EA, they are so greedy. They've ruined games by how it's so much about pay to play. And so with AI, we're getting to the point now where individuals can create their own worlds, create their own video games. And again, with this is just an open AI thing. So I don't know if this is actually playable for this, but it's just interesting to see this right here. And then Trevor's landscape is fixing to change. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think, I'll be seeing Stephanie, it looks like, possibly out at the Biltmore later today. So let's go. And Stephanie Diaz, an investor. So we might have a lot of interesting things to talk about. But let me run this clip right here. This is just how open AI and how AI is changing our lives here in the short term. I will be right back, guys. And we're going to let this clip run, and then I'll be right back. So enjoy. This is CJ from Grand Theft Auto during the times of World War II.
Oh, shit. Here we go again. Hell no. You buster. You disrespecting my hood, fool.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip.
Yo, you dropped the bomb on me. Guess we on the German side in this scene. Welcome to America.
That's the first time that ever happened to me.
Go smoke me up. And I want that grass. Comprende?
Everything is transient. I'm passing through life same as every man. Fascists, Carl.
You jacked up. Man, what's this? This shit look ridiculous. All clean as shit.
What's happening, fool?
A number 7, 2 number 45s, 1 with cheese, and a large soda.
Wall Street for life.
We got a visual on the suspect. You're in trouble now, bad boy.
Hell yeah.
Oh, that's
Cool.
So anyway, I just wanted to show that. I thought that was a pretty funny clip right there. And to me, that just shows that, like that is just how AI is changing the world and the amount of creativity that we could have nowadays. Now, I'm looking at the bullish side of everything. I'm looking at the positives, right? I don't believe in being in too negative of a mindset. I believe it brings down our vibrations, right? I don't want to always be negative and think the worst of the worst. So I know OpenAI, I know AI in general, robotics, all of that is taking individuals' jobs. I know that, many are upset when it comes to AI art, for example, especially digital artists, because they've put in so much work when it comes to digital art, and now they see it just get produced instantly. But also think about how much creativity we really do have. I know a lot of negatives. A lot of people will say, oh, you have AI slop right now, and AI slop is the worst, and this and that. And there is AI slop, but there is also amazing creations that is coming out of AI. And it really shows what we as people can do with our minds with this amazing tool. And again, I just want to talk about positives and negatives, because, if you do get caught in a cycle of being too negative, these people could really speak to you. One of them is the Epic Economist. And I just want to point out, this guy has never had a smile in any of his thumbnails. And this is why I am remaining bullish, and I am not freaked out by small movements like we are seeing here with Robinhood. I know 8% seems big, but again, this is a high beta play with a lot of volatility. Oh, it looks like I don't even have it on the screen, but anyway, individuals such as the Epic Economist, it's like, if you're listening to this guy, I mean, you probably thought it was the end of the world, any time period you listen to this guy. You go all the way back to 5 months ago, he's saying it's the end of the world. You're going back to 8 months ago, it's the end of the world. Not a single positive thumbnail right here. House crash is coming. Well, this was from a year ago. The house crash hasn't happened yet. Be ready for the collapse. Well, it hasn't happened yet. The collapse has begun. Has it? I mean, things still seem pretty decent. Be ready for the collapse. Be ready for the collapse. It's like stuff like this. This is what bothers me on YouTube. There is a lot of fear mongering, a lot of short-term thinking, but it's like the markets typically go up. And again, with a play like Robinhood, I'm not going to sell out of this position just because we are down by 8%. If anything, this just shows me that there's a lot of volatility with Robinhood. So let's see how this earnings call comes in. That is going to be here in about 15 minutes. Again, thank you to everybody who is here in the chat today. I really do appreciate all of your support. Let's just see if we get the beautiful candlesticks updated. It's been a while now. So that's how it looks in terms of the candlestick chart. Expectations are already expected to be better for Q2 of 2026. And so again, today's earnings disappointed Wall Street just a little bit, but really, things are still coming in positive year over year when you look at Q1 of 2026 opposed to Q1 of 2025. Year over year growth, $1 billion quarterly. The next one is expected to be $1 billion quarterly. I see there being a big future with Robinhood. You don't even have to take my word for it, because Robinhood is buying back Robinhood stock. So the company is bullish on this company. And then Trump is setting us up to win. Kevin Warsh confirmation on May 11th could be a bullish catalyst. I do believe that will be a bullish catalyst, and I do agree with you, Two Wheels Pursuit. It all depends on how you look at the scenario, because many are looking at the Strait of Hormuz, the end of the world. And I mean, I was looking at that too. Again, I'm not going to totally say that I'm like ignoring the macros or anything like that, but once we did see this big gap up in the major indexes, and we did not see this gap officially get filled. I mean, when we just really zoom out, I mean, it looks like a very technical bounce here, and I am expecting for the markets to rip a lot higher. And it's so similar, so crazy how similar the setup actually is to last year. You know what, Stephanie, you earned it, my friend. Thank you so much. Let me see. I think I'll have to add this from the phone. But you know what? You deserve to be a moderator on this channel. So thank you, Stephanie. That was huge, that donation you gave earlier. So you know what? Look at this right here. Boom. I'm adding you right now. Let's see. You got the wrench now? Will it update with the wrench? All right, well, you are officially a moderator now on my side. So I don't know. Will you maybe send another chat? The next chat you have, you may have a wrench. So congratulations on becoming a moderator. We have another moderator that we're going to make here too. We're not giving these out either. These are to the biggest supporters of this channel. So Two Wheels Pursuit, congratulations. You are also now a moderator. We have two moderators here in the chat today. Now we have Stephanie Diaz and we have Two Wheels Pursuit. But again, just going back to what we were talking about with technical analysis, the wall of worry. If you do listen to somebody like the Epic Economist, or you listen to all the bears, you know, you'll miss out on a lot of the fun that is actually happening within the markets. It's so crazy, you know, when I watch hey, there we go. Yes, congratulations. Thank you again, Two Wheels Pursuit. I do appreciate all your support on this channel. Same to you there, Stephanie. You guys have been here for most of the live streams and have shown a ton of love. And, you know, with this channel, like I say here, I'll show you guys my recent YouTube growth here. With this channel, looks like it's doing that thing where it's not letting me type for some reason. Hold up. Let me pull up my statistics here on the other tab. But with this channel, you guys are helping to push this up during the time when this channel is seeing lower growth overall. And so, like, the participation that you guys have in these live streams are very much appreciated, because things have been pretty slow. I'm pulling up my statistics here to show you the last 90 days, but things are getting better, guys. So let me show you real quick. Let me go switch this over. But the reason why I show this is I just want to say it's you guys who keep this channel alive while YouTube is not giving the highest of recommendations. As you can see, it's like I had my big boosts back in 2025, and it's been basically like saw teeth back and forth for quite some time. We're finally starting to see a bit of a boost here in the last 28 days. So with the bullish momentum coming back into the markets, we may see more bullish investors overall. But it's all of you guys, Two Wheels Pursuit, Chrison, Stephanie, all of you guys in these live streams who show support that keep this going during moments when I have seen lower growth. And you know what? Congrats to you, Chris on the mom. One more. We're going to give out, not give out. There's one more wrench that is earned today, and that is to Chris on the mom, who is also now going to have a wrench by their name. You guys are all very special to me. When I say that I really love doing this, this is one of my favorite things to do in this world. I mean it, and I have so much growth planned for this channel. I am going to soon be creating a greenmoneymomentum.com at some point. I'll also be going live every single day. What I'm doing right now is I'm positioning my business outside of this channel to not need me as much. So I have the employees out doing work. Today, I'm getting a receptionist, and because, you know, sometimes I got to take phone calls while I'm doing this, or I got to be in tune with my phone, seeing what the employees are saying. But I want to dedicate so much time to this. I'm going to be creating a greenmoneymomentum.com. Also going to be going live more often for live day trading, and then also be doing more travel vlogs like you guys saw in 2025 when I went to Washington, D.C. So there are a lot of big things planned for this channel, and for all of you who support me while we are still small and growing, all of you get an OG ticket. So once that does go live, I plan on having like a live chat, kind of like a Discord, where all of us members can communicate, maybe talk about our different wins that we've had. Call it the winner's circle, baby. We're going to be in the winner's circle, but it will be all of us investors, and we'll be able to communicate on a daily basis. The reason why I want to create my own site is I'm a creative guy in general. I created the website, my business, my brand, all of that for what I do outside of this channel. I also created everything here for Green Money Momentum. And I know there are places where you could connect with other investors, such as Twitter/X or Discord. But to me, those platforms are really spammy, and to me, they're just really crowded. So I want to be able for all of us to connect, to be able to share ideas and have everything in a very nice, clean group chat to say. So basically, I'll be creating my website. At some point, we'll have a group chat, and there will be an OG ticket to all of you who are with me on the channel right now. It will be absolutely free to everybody who is a first time, who is with me while we are still while we are still smaller on this channel. And then buy silver. It's fun to collect bars, round, and old coins. Yes, I do like silver. Yeah, buying silver is a great way to build a portfolio. Absolutely. And then I'm waiting for silver to hit 60, and then I am a buyer again. But yeah, I cannot tell you guys how much I truly appreciate every single one of you for being here. I am so excited for the future of this channel. Again, one of my favorite things to do in the world. And it's like, again, you know, in the short term, still not having the best of growth. When we look at the live stream today, it shows that there are 7 of us here, 6 of you, 1 of me. And I was expecting more today with Robinhood's earnings. Many times these earnings calls can actually get upwards of 50, 100, 400 plus viewers, all of that. But we didn't see that today. But I'm not complaining either. You know, I'm very blessed to be here. I'm super excited to be doing this in real time and to be having people talk. Have people listening to me. This is a passion of mine, but I'm saying this because all of you are here when YouTube is not really pushing out this live stream to new viewers. And so all of your engagement, all of your views, all of that really does help. And we are going to officially get Robinhood's earnings call here in 7 minutes. So I could stay here with you guys if you would like we could do the earnings call together, or you could always go here to Robinhood's channel and watch the earnings call live. If we do watch the earnings call together, I'll give my breakdown of what I think about the earnings afterwards. I'll give my breakdown about what I thought about the guidance with Robinhood. So drop that in the live stream, drop that in the live chat there. Let me know if you want to see me go live, if you want to see me continue this live and give my analysis after the earnings report, or if you just want to go to the YouTube channel of Robinhood and watch this. And then we appreciate you. I have learned a lot from GMM and the subs. Well, I appreciate that, Chrisan, and I feel the same to all of you. I feel that we all learn and improve together by, by having synergy, by having a winner's circle, to say, like I was saying, like, I think that synergy is so important, and connecting with others and bouncing thoughts off of each other. It's a big world, and we're all just trying to navigate it. And the more help that we could have from from all of us, the better, right? Congrats, Chris on the mom on the rents. Yes, and that looks like we have a first-time viewer here. At least this is the first time I have seen you. Everything Softball Uno, thank you for being here. Stay on. You want me to stay on for that? Well, hey, I appreciate that. Yes, I will definitely stay on, and then I'll give my my analysis on what I think about their earnings after this. Look at this, by the way, a nice, beautiful $2 bill. I was going to show this off earlier and I almost forgot. Big 2. Look at that. Big 2. Looks like I'm getting a text from my employee. Okay, he's almost done with what he is doing. So this will actually align pretty perfectly, because I'll probably have to take a small call as soon as we do go live for the second half. I also got some meme for you guys. So we had this earlier. And then I liked this right here. I thought this was pretty good art right here. This is Michael Saylor. If you know who he is with MicroStrategy. He has the diamond hands holding over the bear. And you guys all know what this photo is from. And then I don't have Robinhood, but will stay to learn. Oh, well, that is awesome, Chris on the mom. Well, hey, I know you're invested into many different plays. Question for you, Chris on the mom, why are you not in Robinhood? Again, this is never financial advice. I'm never pushing you to buy a certain stock, but in my opinion, Chris on, and I know you follow the channel heavily, this is actually, in my personal opinion, my favorite stock that I own, Robinhood, and then also Advanced Micro Devices, 2 blue chips that I have a ton of faith in. I also love the small caps. I love Big Bear AI, SoundHound, DJT, Rich Tech Robotics, so on and so on. But if there were only if there was only one play I were to put all my money into, which again, I don't recommend, always have proper risk management and diversification. But if I could only do one, I would personally do Robinhood, because of how bullish I am on Robinhood. So I'd be curious, Chris, on why you are not in Robinhood. And again, that's not me encouraging you to buy Robinhood. I'm not trying to get you to FOMO into Robinhood, but I just believe, in terms of fundamentals, Robinhood is a tremendous company. Robinhood also, I know, has had a lot of volatility towards the downside most recently, especially. But, Robinhood also, and I know you're reading that book, Chrisan, or maybe you're through it now. What is it? The Neatest Little Guide to Stock Market Investing. It talks about plays that are high beta. Robinhood is a high beta play. So it has a beta of 2.16, basically meaning that it does run at double the volatility of the market. So basically 2x the speed of something like the SPY. And then Croissant says, too pricey for me. I understand that, Croissant. There's many stocks that I look at, and I look at the price with them, and I'm like, too pricey for me, or I don't want to get into it. If this is too pricey for you, I completely understand that, Croissant. But I would say, again, not encouraging you to do anything, but I do believe that this is a very low price for what we are going to see in the future. And this is a play where I don't necessarily look at the price as much as I look at the asymmetrical return on investment possibilities, because I am expecting Robinhood to absolutely continue to soar as the years go on. And I believe now it's more important than ever to be your own portfolio manager and to be within the markets. And soon we are going to see the elimination of the PDT trading rule, which I believe is going to open up a lot of volume, a lot of hype, and a lot of price action across the entire market. And then on the back of the $2 bill, no one is wearing a hat except one guy in the back, the man in the hat. Take a look here. Oh, wow. Two wheels. That's very interesting. Thanks for pointing that out. I've never had anyone tell me that. So there's one guy back there. Probably can't see it there, but he has a hat. Looks like the earnings call is going live. It's about to go live. Let me switch over here. Let's take one last look here. Croissant the mom, also, I know you're here always for education and everything like that. Again, we talked a bit about options markets. When it does come to the gamma exposure levels, crazy how accurate this was. I mean, look at where Robinhood fell to with what happened and then where Robinhood could rise to. So major levels of gamma and then major levels of resistance and support around these levels. Also, last thing I want to say before we get into the earnings call here too, this is another form of pessimism that I am not buying into. Traders, and they're barely peaking into May, scared because of that expression, stay away in May, but they may be missing the bigger bullish catalysts, the higher time frame of Kevin Warsh taking the place of Jerome Powell. Looks like I'm going to have to make a phone call here, so perfect timing. I'm going to let this run, and then I will join you guys shortly after the earnings call, and I may pause here and there and give some opinions along the way. So again, thank you. Super chat Stephanie. I apologize on the no audio. I thought you guys had some audio. I put on the. Give me a second here. Listening here on my phone because I had audio a second ago.
Live stock charts, expanded personal profiles, tools to find other traders. And we're also bringing popular creators on the platform. And there's really been strong demand from creators to participate in this network. Second, wallet share. We are building our customers' financial super app. We can see that this is starting to resonate with customers across retirement, gold credit card, strategies, and banking. Customers added 500,000 funded accounts in Q1 and more than 1.5 million in the past year. And so we're really continuing to broaden the offering beyond just brokerage. I'd give a special highlight to Robinhood Banking. So Robinhood Banking grew 5x since the last earnings. It's rapidly become a leading premium digital banking offering. And I think it's really one of a kind in that category. Over 2 billion in net deposits, over 125,000 funded customers, and I think most interestingly, a 40% direct deposit rate. Okay, so that's a 40% direct deposit attach rate, which tells us this isn't just an add-on to your brokerage account for keeping your extra cash. People are thinking about this as a primary bank account. So I think that gets me very excited. I know Shiv as well. Gold card. Okay, gold credit cards have also surpassed 800,000 customers with annualized purchase volume, APV, of $15 billion. So this is a heavy purchasing card already. The credit performance continues to be strong, and we're on track to surpass 1 million cards and 100 million ARR this year, and well before the end of the year as well. Demand for the new Platinum card, which if you guys saw the Take Flight event, I mean, it was very popular. The card is, I believe, the heaviest credit card on the market. So demand for it has exceeded our expectations. We look forward to rolling out in the coming months. And we're responding to initial feedback. So the great thing about this team, they iterate, and I think you're gonna see a better product than what was even unveiled. So that's very exciting. Moving on to our third and long-term arc, global financial ecosystem. We're making progress as we expand to different markets around the world. International's picking up, and we approach 1 million funded customers. We plan to launch crypto in Canada around mid-year. Remember, this is via our WonderFi acquisition from last year. And we have received in-principle approval from regulators in Singapore to offer a comprehensive suite of brokerage services there. So that's a big deal. Bitstamp continues to win institutional customers, gaining market share. And we're enhancing the offering. In particular, there's been a lot of interest in institutional lending. So you're going to see us digging in and doing more there. Across the entirety of the business, we're really turbocharging Robinhood with AI as well. And if you think about the impact of AI on our business, it's actually 3 different things. So first, we're aggressively leveraging AI to drive efficiency and productivity internally. We've been doing this for a long time, and Shiv will talk a little bit more about the wins we've been seeing there. Second thing, we've been and we continue to give customers access to the highest quality AI-powered tools. So Robinhood Cortex, which we unveiled about a year ago, used by nearly 1 million customers so far. So this is like AI intelligence throughout the Robinhood app. You can see it in the stock digests, and you can now see it in Cortex Assistant, which is our AI assistant within the product. So now that's rolled out actually to all gold customers. And so we're putting the financial intelligence coupled with our market data in your pocket. Customers are using it to do portfolio and P&L analysis. They're using it for stock research and stock screening. and you should expect to see it get better and better. I think we really love what we're seeing there. And we're also, you could tell last December, there was a step change in the agentic capabilities in these AI models. Of course, we're working to bring the frontier capabilities into your product, and we've been spending a lot of time chiseling what an agentic product could look like. So stay tuned there. And third, and this is an interesting one, AI is affecting the markets and investors. So one of the things that we've been spending a lot of time on is empowering customers to participate in the economic value and the upside created by these AI companies. Now, the unfortunate thing has been a lot of them are still private. In some cases, staying private, valuations of hundreds of billions. But Robinhood Ventures was built to solve this. And Robinhood Ventures' first fund, RVI, had its IPO in March. We have a great portfolio of late-stage frontier companies, and we just added OpenAI last week, which was awesome. Now, we're also hearing from customers that they want access to emerging AI companies at an even earlier stage. And we've already begun building the initial portfolio for our next fund, RVII, so the second RVI. We're excited to share more soon, but I think part of this is just building the capability now that we've proven out that private markets democratization is a real thing, making it a bigger thing. And the aspiration is that if you're a founder, retail should be part of the initial seed capital for your company. And I think once we succeed in this, we could actually move the needle on entrepreneurship in this country and make it so that this is better for entrepreneurs. They can access retail and get even more capital. So taking all of this together, the relentless product velocity has driven another quarter of strong business results. Total net revenues grew 15% year over year to 1.1 billion. Net deposits were 18 billion, which is another quarter of 20% plus annualized net deposit growth, and our third highest ever. Gold subscribers, 36% year over year growth to a record 4.3 million. And that's 16% attach rate relative to the total customer base, and 40% of new customers in Q1. So we're seeing customers adopting Gold very quickly, and that gets us very energized. Now, looking ahead, we've got some great new products to share. So as I mentioned earlier, we've been working hard on extending agentic capabilities into Robinhood Cortex and your Robinhood experience. So you should see some exciting products coming in late May. So that's next month. Plus, we've got a crypto event coming up as well. That's going to be early July in the United Kingdom. We'll be holding, so that's two things coming up very shortly. We're also holding our annual Hood Summit for active traders in the fall. And, you know, I've been reviewing what's on deck for that one, and I think you'll really like that. So why don't I turn it over to Shiv now to discuss our financials, and then we'll circle back for the Q&A.
All right.
Shiv.
Thank you, Vlad. So before we get started on financials, I wanted to share three big takeaways from the Q1. First, as Vlad mentioned, our product velocity continues to accelerate. So we're investing for the long term, we're aggressively leveraging AI across the business, and this is leading products being shipped faster than ever. Second, we delivered another strong quarter of 20% annualized net deposit growth. As a reminder, this is our North Star KPI. It's great to see customers continue to trust us with their assets. Even with the macro backdrop, which was more challenging to start the year, customers remain engaged, they deposit on the platform, and they're rapidly adopting our new products, banking as example, as Vlad mentioned. So all this put together, it led to 15% year-over-year revenue growth and 50% adjusted EBITDA margins. And third, big takeaway is Q2 is off to a good start in April. So trading volumes for equities and options are on track to be our highest month of the year, and actually our second highest month in history. Net deposits, they're already approximately $5 billion month to date. That's great to see. And retirement assets just crossed 30 billion. So really great to see customers continuing to invest for the long term on Robinhood. So let's go to the Q1 results, and all of this is compared to a year ago. So first, revenues grew 15% to 1.07 billion, and this was driven by growth across the entire business. So transaction volumes, they increased with growth in equities and options, and we had a record quarter for both prediction markets and futures. If you look at interest earning assets, they also continue to grow, and they more than offset the lower short-term interest rates. So really great to see net interest margin grow as well. And then other revenues were up as Gold subscribers reached a new all-time high, 4.3 million subscribers. So really great to see the adoption there. And we also continue to stay disciplined on our costs. So we managed Q1 expenses to be significantly lower than our outlook. So adjusted OpEx and SBC was 607 million, and this included 14 million of costs related to Rethera and Trump accounts that actually were not included in our outlook. So when I looked ahead to the rest of the year, we expect to invest an incremental $100 million into building Trump accounts, with approximately half of these in Q2 as we prepare to launch. As Vlad said, we're super excited for this. So these costs include building an exceptional user experience and actually a brand new app, also ensuring we have best-in-class customer service, and then giving customers access to really great educational context. Importantly, I would also note that our work for Trump accounts is contracted on a cost-plus basis with a small margin. So we expect revenues to exceed costs for this project. So given this $100 million investment in building Trump accounts, we are raising our full year 2026 outlook for adjusted OpEx and SBC by equivalent 100 million, and so our updated range is 2.7 to 2.825 billion. So turning to capital allocation, we spent a lot of time here. We've also leaned in on share repurchases to start the year. So far this year, we've already repurchased over 300 million or 4 million of our shares, which keeps share count on track to be approximately flat this quarter. And as we've said before, the denominator matters. Additionally, in March, our board refreshed our share repurchase authorization to 1.5 billion. So this reflects the great confidence and opportunities we have ahead. So looking ahead, just want to share a few top of minds that we're also thinking about. First, we're going to continue investing for the long term while maintaining our disciplined approach to costs. So customers are responding incredibly well to our new products, and our product velocity, as we said, is faster than ever. We believe this combination can deliver outsized growth for years to come. But at the same time, we want to remain disciplined in the way we invest capital. And so we're continuing to underwrite each investment to strong long-term ROIs. Second, we are also increasing our focus on top of funnel customer growth. So this is something new again. While we continue to add customers organically, we think there is an opportunity to improve our customer growth rate, both in the US and internationally. So we're starting to allocate more of our investments in capital to adding new customers again, while still maintaining our focus on the strong annualized net deposit growth. And this is all in addition to supporting Trump accounts, which also puts the Robinhood technology in front of the next generation of investors. And third, we're leaning into investments in AI, both in the customer-facing products and internally. So Vlad spoke to a lot of the customer efforts, but we also believe making AI native to our workflows is just as fundamental to winning. So last quarter, if you remember, we shared the 9-figure efficiency benefits we've already generated in engineering and customer support. But we are now giving every team the tools and mandate to adopt AI into their daily workflows, to drive productivity while also making the experience of working at Robinhood even better. Today, over 90% of our employees are already using AI tooling in their workflows. That's great to see. And these adoption numbers, they continue to increase weekly. Another example of a data point we watch is commits per engineer. This measures how much code our engineers are successfully deploying into production. It hit a new high in Q1, and it's up 50% since the start of last year, as our engineers are leveraging these AI tools to build even faster for customers. So we believe AI has the power to transform financial services for both customers and employees. And as a technology company, we plan to lead that charge. So putting it all together, we believe the opportunities for 2026 and beyond remain massive. Our teams are hard at work. They're shipping great products for customers, but we're also staying lean and disciplined to generate operating leverage for shareholders. And as I said last quarter, our financial North Star remains the same: maximize earnings per share and free cash flow per share for shareholders over time. So with that, Chris, why don't we go to Q&A?
All right. Thank you, Shiv. For the Q&A session, we'll start by answering shareholder questions from Say Technology. And after the Say questions, we'll turn to live questions from our audience. And then we'll go to dial-in participants. So the first question from Say comes from Sebastian G., who's joining us live via Zoom.
Sebastian.
Hey, good afternoon. Good afternoon, everyone.
Hello.
Thank you, Vlad and Shiv, and thank you to the Robinhood team for the opportunity. Thank you for everything you guys do. My question is around the dividend tracker that you had previously announced. Can you give me an update on the current status of that?
We love our dividend investors at Robinhood. We call them dividend hounds. You're a dividend hound, Sebastian?
I am. I sure am.
Yeah. So the short answer to your question is it's in the works, and we're going to be launching it this year. So on track for that. The reason it hasn't been launched already is that as we sat down with our team to think about what we could be doing even more for our dividend hounds, one thing came up. So a lot of them had this complaint that, some of the other brokerages pay out their dividends in the morning, but we do it in the evening. So why can't we pay out the dividends a little bit earlier, match everyone else? So we looked into this, and what we discovered was that actually the dividend record date is up to 2 to 3 weeks before the dividends are paid out typically. And so we saw an opportunity not just to match what everyone else is doing, but to beat it and to give your dividends an average of 17 days or 2 to 3 weeks earlier. And this is like real value. So one of the other reasons why hopefully it'll be irrational to use another brokerage for your dividend investing than Robinhood. So we got excited about this. We're shipping that. That's live. Should be this month. And now our team is turning their attention to making what at this point, given all the questions, needs to be the world's best dividend tracker. So stay tuned for that and enjoy the early dividends in the meantime.
Looking forward to it. Thank you.
Awesome. All right. The next say question is from Matt S.
Vlad, what's up?
Hello.
Hey, what's
How
going
you
on?
doing?
How are you? So
there he
excited to
is.
be here. Really appreciate it. Okay, so my top voted question was, will Robinhood have IPO access to any of the upcoming mega offerings?
Okay, yeah, that's a great question. So I have to preface it by saying I can't really be specific with you about what IPOs may or may not be on the platform listed before you actually see it. That being said, in the past couple of years, we've seen a distinct shift where pretty much every major IPO of consequence has been on Robinhood's platform. And in most of these cases, the founders, the CEOs are engaging with us directly, asking for help with their retail strategy. And there's a big change from when we launched IPO Access, which was back in 2021. We really had to claw and scratch and ask for favors to get retail these allocations. And everyone was telling them you don't want retail in your IPOs, certainly don't want more than 10% retail allocation. And now we're starting to get the CEOs talking about how they're actually driving larger and larger historic sized allocations, 20%, 30%. We're starting to get questions about how big is too big. Why isn't anyone doing larger? And I think that's awesome. I think we've helped really change the game, and now retail has a real seat at the table in IPOs. And with Robinhood Ventures, we're driving that even earlier. So I think that's a durable trend. I think it's going to continue. And so you should expect that that'll happen in the future. And we're going to continue to work tirelessly to get the highest quality IPOs and private companies to treat retail as a first-class constituency.
All right. Thank you, Vlad. That concludes our shareholder questions from Say Technologies. Now we'll move to Q&A from folks here live in Menlo Park. So the first question goes to Alex Margraf.
Thanks. Hey guys, Alex Marcraft from KeyBank. Maybe a couple questions, Vlad. Just one on Shiv's comment on customer growth. I mean, the Trump account effort's obviously one source, but as you think about other sources of customer growth when you're putting some more capital behind it, where does your mind go?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there's a lot that we could be doing both on the product side, just making onboarding simpler, getting customers to see the value easier, right? And I think a lot of those surfaces, since we've in the past few years turned our attention more to deepening relationships with customers, getting higher value customers to get more value, we've been spending a little bit less attention and focus on how to make the top of funnel simpler and easier to get through. And in particular, now we have lots of products, right? So there's lots of things to market, lots of things we can put in front of customers. We really have executed on this vision of building a comprehensive financial services platform. So the challenge now is how do we kind of like organize these things for customers and make them so that we deliver the thing that you're looking for as quickly as possible, and not to kind of like clutter the interface and experience. And I think we're also seeing really good impact from our marketing activities. Marketing continues to be very high ROI for us, and that just gives us more and more levers.
Right. Maybe Shiv, on OpEx, last quarter we talked about the profitable growth framework. As you think about the flexibility that showed up in the first quarter around the 607 million, when you look at the rest of the year, maybe help us think about where the flexibility exists to on the lower side, if need be, to ensure that profitable growth framework.
Yeah, great question. So our North Star is still the same. We want to drive free cash flow per share and earnings per share over the long term. So that means we need to be making investments. So we want to keep doing that. Customers responding incredibly well. At the same time, we want to be disciplined. And so we're constantly re-underwriting everything we're doing, making sure it still makes sense and where we want to put our capital. 85 to 90% of our costs are fixed, but a large portion are discretionary. So as a software platform, we're constantly looking at what's the right allocation of resources internally. We also have marketing spend, as Vlad mentioned. We also have some variable costs, even though predominantly fixed. So I feel really good about our outlook. We're still building for the long term. We came in better this quarter and we're continuing to monitor it. But I want us to be investing for the long term. And then if we need to, we also have some levers we can pull.
All right. Thank you, Alex. Now, Alex just had his second child, so we let him have 2 questions. But for the next, for the remainder of the question askers, please limit yourself to 1 question. All right. So the next question is from Dan Fannon.
Thanks, Dan Fannon from Jefferies. So wanted to just talk more broadly about the health of your customer base, given and the resiliency, given all the market volatility we've seen to start the year. And then you gave some comments about April, only mentioned a few asset classes. So maybe expand a bit upon outside of just options and equities, maybe crypto, prediction markets, sec lending, any of the other kind of areas where you're seeing any change in behavior as you go into 2Q versus what we saw in the first quarter.
Yeah, I'm happy to start.
Go for it.
So our North Star KPI is just net deposits. Like that is our customers healthy? Are they trusting us? 18 billion in Q1, despite was a really tough macro backdrop. If you recall, to start the year, there was a government shutdown, a software sell-off, and then a global conflict. Despite all of that, our customers remain resilient. I think the big difference from a couple of years ago is, one, we're a lot more diversified. So there's a lot of different products that customers are using. We mentioned banking, for example, Robinhood credit card. We also have Robinhood strategies. That's our robo-like product that has over $1.5 billion. And so regardless of the macro backdrop, customers are using that. The second thing is we have more active trader tools. So we now have index options, which allows you to go long or short. We also have shorting, which is growing nicely. So for more active traders, they're continuing to remain engaged. On your question on April specifically, really healthy volumes across equities and options, as I mentioned. Prediction markets, it's on track to be around 3 billion and probably our second highest month ever. So really strong engagement there. So everything we're seeing is the customer is healthy, they're engaged, a little bit more activity from the active trader constituency. But the thesis was if you build great products, if you diversify, if you give active traders the tools, they'll be there throughout the cycle. And that's what we've seen thus far.
Great. Thank you, Shiv. Any other questions? Jeff John Roberts.
Hey, Jeff.
Hey, Vlad. Nice setting. My question's on prediction markets. How does Robinhood see this industry evolving? Do you see in 2 years it being like a Uber Lyft type duopoly, or is there going to be like 5 or 10 or 15 players?
Yeah, I mean, remember, prediction markets happens at various layers, right? So right now we're kind of think of us as a brokerage, and then there's a variety of exchanges, and you know, there's sort of the main ones that are in the news, and also a lot of the other players are growing their own exchanges, building their own, going through the CFTC registration process. There's probably been over a dozen, probably more than that. So I think we should expect to see some consolidation because, frankly, if you look at all of these dozens of new exchanges that are popping up, there's not a lot of differentiation. And I think differentiation really comes down to who has an established, engaged customer base and who has a unique advantage with economics. And one of the things I think we're unique with is we've got 27 million funded accounts in the US. And through our partnership with SIG to launch Rothera, which is one of the leading market makers in the asset class, we believe that we not only have an advantage with retail, but also institutional as well. So I think the asset class is going to continue to grow. We're very, very early. We're starting to see the beginnings of diversification outside of sports. So that's been increasing. I do think, and it's hard to predict the exact timing. I don't believe there will be dozens of DCMs in the future. I think there will be some consolidation, and I think we should see that shaking out in the next couple of years.
All right, thank you, Vlad. Are there any other people here who would like in person to ask a question?
Don't be shy.
No? Okay. Well, then let's go to the Zoom queue. All right, so for those who are joining us on Zoom, please raise your hand to let us know that you'd like to ask a question. So I'm seeing the first question is coming from Devin Ryan at Citizens.
Hey, Vlad. Hey, Shiv. How are you?
Hey, Devin.
Doing well, thanks.
Good to see you. Question, I want to dig in on the recent announcement on the pattern day trader elimination and just get your thoughts on what does that mean for Robinhood, for your customers, for kind of modernization and democratization kind of near term? And then, bigger picture, how do you see this playing into, I don't know, themes like agentic trading and maybe the ability for customers to trade a lot more than maybe they otherwise would have been able to do. So just want some thoughts on kind of both near term and longer term, what this means for you.
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I mean, this rule, so for those of you that aren't familiar, probably most are, but pattern day trading rules prevent day trading effectively for customers that have under $25,000 in their account. So when I say vestigial and kind of outdated, it's this old notion that the amount of money you have in your account or your account balance dictates how sophisticated or knowledgeable you are, right? And we've seen that maybe in the past when we had lack of good information, this was kind of a reasonable proxy, but now we have tons of information, so it makes less sense. Moreover, the way this rule works is if you fall backwards and trip over and become flagged a pattern day trader, effectively, if you want to trade, you would have to churn out of your Robinhood account and go to another brokerage. So it wasn't even, this follows you around as a customer. It's just on a per brokerage basis. And since we were getting the lion's share of new customers, we felt like this disproportionately affected us. So excited to see it go. This, along with the accreditation rules, are kind of like vestigial rules that tie sophistication with account balance, which we think is wrong. And we're excited that there's progress there. And obviously, as you can tell, we're ready to go. The team is excited to go live with the new logic, and I think it's a great step by FINRA to push this through.
All right, thank you, Vlad. The next question is from Dan Dolov from Mizuho.
Hey guys, hey Vlad, hey Shiv. Looks like you're in a much better place than I am.
Is that why you're not on video?
We're I'm in New York. So great stuff here. Everything sounds really amazing and promising. I was very impressed by the agentic trading commentary. Maybe can you educate us a little bit what you guys are doing? Because if anyone's at the forefront of agentic trading, it is probably going to be Robinhood. So I'm really curious to know, what you guys are doing there.
Yeah,
and I'm sure a lot of people would like to hear that as well.
You caught that in my prepared remarks, right? My preference really isn't to reveal too much about products before we ship them, but we've got a lot planned this year. I mean, there's 3 events that I just announced. So we're going to be launching some stuff in May. Then we've got the crypto event in early July. And then we have Hood Summit. That's going to be our active trader event, 3rd annual in the fall. And I just reviewed kind of the docket for that. You can imagine AI agents and putting the best financial intelligence in our customers' hands is going to be a starting player in the starting 5 of most, if not all, of those events. So, and I should say, there's been a lot of noise about this by the industry. I don't think anyone's kind of figured anything out yet. So we're still early, and you should expect us to be not just early, but kind of at the forefront there.
Great. Thank you, Vlad. The next question is from Steven Chubak from Wolf.
Hi, good afternoon, and thanks for taking my questions. Sorry, I said
Steven.
Questions. Chris, to be clear, one question only.
Thank you, Steven.
And this relates to just sec lending in particular, and that has remained under considerable pressure, not just for you, but for industry peers as well. At the same time, the outlook here is pretty constructive given both this large slate of IPOs that are coming, as well as just above normal retail allocations for those IPOs as well. So given that you've had more of your clients opt into fully paid sec lending, was hoping you can contextualize just how meaningful of a windfall this could become. And I'm going to break my own rule. If you could speak to take rate dynamics for 2Q, that would be helpful as well.
Shiv?
Yes, I'm happy to take this one. Great question. So first on securities lending, as a reminder, this will show up in 3 different places in the financials. First is sec lending net. It'll also show up in segregated cash because when customers have securities lending, we get GC collateral back and we reinvestment. Will also show up in margin interest as customers borrow on margin. So when you look at the financials, what you saw is customers continued to opt in and use the program and fully paid. The margin book continued to grow. What you did see is securities lending net, which is primarily based on the rebates rate, was lower. As you mentioned, Steve, that's mainly because lower volatility, lower IPOs in the market, so specials rebates was lower, so that's what brought that down. How do we judge the business internally and its health? There's just 2 main things I look at. 1, are customers opting into fully paid program, and 2, how much assets are opted in. So right now it's about 25% of customers have opted into fully paid and about 50% of assets. So really healthy adoption, but we also have a long way to go. It's hard to predict what's going to happen on the specials rebates rate later in the year, but right now it's at a low. And if the market comes back, or if you see IPOs come back, you could see it rebound there. To your second question, we'll answer it, even though Chris said limit it to 1. So take rates. As a reminder, this is an output metric. We goal on market share and we're winning, and everything that we see is that the case. What happens to take rates is when active traders trade more, take rates naturally go down because we have tiered pricing. This is a good thing. It means they're engaged, they're using our products, and relative to a few years ago, we're actually seeing a much healthier adoption of active traders during some of these events. So what are we seeing to start the quarter? On crypto, it's about 7 basis points lower, and on options, it's about 3 cents. However, we're starting to see that rebound in the pickup of April. So again, it's an output metric. We focus on active traders and market share, and everything we're seeing is super healthy.
Thank you, Shiv, for the doubleheader. All right, the next question is from Ben Budish at Barclays.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Thanks for taking the question. Maybe just tying this into Steve's question on sec lending. Shiv, I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit more about your margin funding. I think it's been a little bit of a source of confusion for investors. You've been moving bank sweep cash over to brokerage cash. I think you've been talking about using some of the sec lending related cash. So maybe just any modeling help you can give us there. How should we think about your future plans given your margin balances are growing more rapidly would all be helpful. Thank you.
Yeah, happy to take it. Great question. So on the margin book funding, what you'll notice in Q1 is we moved over $6 billion of cash that was off balance sheet, that was in the sweep program, onto free credit balances onto balance sheet to help fund the margin book. No impact to customers. They get the exact same rate, 335, one of the best in the industry. This was more of a back-end accounting change. It also helps, as you mentioned, on the funding of the margin book. This is very common in different brokerages before. So just with the health of what we're seeing, we decided that was the right time. What would I expect from modeling going forward? they'll stay roughly at this rate. About 25% of our free credit balances today is in this. So 24 billion in sweeps, and then about 6 billion from free credit balances. It might move a little bit around quarter to quarter, but I think that's the way you should look at it. And then most of our free credit balances will continue to be earning the same rate that we do, but this 6 billion will have a smaller take rate, more akin to our sweeps take rate now that it's moved over on balance sheet.
All right. Thank you, Shiv. The next question is from Craig Siegenthaler from Bank of America.
Hey, Vlad, Shiv. I don't know if you can see me, but I obviously can see you, and good to see you both.
We can see you, and you look great.
Great. So I have a follow-up on AI, but not Cortex and not agentic AI, but taking this one step further, where are you in the process of rolling out AI-powered financial advisors? I believe you're working on it. I think you've said before you're in talks with regulators, but can you kind of share a timeline with us?
Yeah, for sure. So I think when people talk about AI-powered financial advisors, they can mean one of two different things. One is just specifically advice on what to invest in, right? And that can be a spectrum of things as well, like trading recommendations and allowing you to build trading strategies with that Reg BI compliant capability. It could also mean like robo-advisor services. So for the latter, we have Robinhood strategies, and for some of the work that we're doing on the agentic side, you should expect that increases in capability as well. And everything that we do, whenever if we do add recommendations, we got to make sure they're in accordance with Reg BI and all of those rules. So we're making progress on those things, and with Robinhood strategies, I think it's the best like deposit money and we invest it for you product out there today under the fiduciary standard. We actually published some returns and historical performance a couple of weeks ago, which looked really good. Now, the other thing people mean when they say financial advice is I want help just managing my entire spectrum of financial things, right? And that involves your banking, your spending and budgeting, your estate planning. And we'll have a solution there for you, multiple solutions. So with Trade PMR, some people still want humans. And I should point out there's a Synergy conference for Trade PMR coming soon where we're going to start unveiling some of the things that we've been working with on the human advisor side. I think that's a durable product. We should expect human advisors to be around because that fills a very, very specific need that I don't think AI is quite going to fill in the near term. Then for the other things, we are working on digital self-serve solutions. We ran a pilot for concierge where we can do your estate planning, we can do your taxes for you. That's been very successful. And through our self-serve offerings, we also have helped customers with their tax preparation. So we're kind of stitching these things together. And you can imagine as we agentify in more and more of our endpoints, that lowers the activation energy to having Cortex or AI assistant seize everything. But I think first, our strategy is going to be to make the capabilities available on an individual basis and later to kind of stitch them together for you.
All right. Thank you, Vlad. The next question is from James Yarrow at Goldman Sachs.
Hey, good afternoon, guys. Thanks for taking the question. I just wanted to touch a little bit further on crypto. Maybe just any views on when crypto volumes and prices could stabilize at a high level, and perhaps also just the trends you're seeing across your crypto franchise, across client types. And I know you commented on the near term take rate dynamics in crypto, but maybe just your thoughts on longer term, what your crypto take rate could do over time.
Yeah, maybe I'll hit the outlook and then you can hit the take rate, Shiv. So when we talk about crypto, I think it's important. I want to get away from talking about the price of Bitcoin or all of the other native crypto assets. Our strategy is to take crypto infrastructure and apply it to assets that have real world utility. That's why we care so much about tokenization. And you should expect that this is going to be, I mean, we're at the very beginning of what's going to be a tokenization super cycle. You're starting to see it a little with the stables. You'll see it with stocks as well. And we're going to be at the beginning of that. And I think you should expect that at the crypto event that we're going to have in July, tokenization will be will have a starring role. And I think there's a lot of work to do there, but we're still very, very early. So crypto is two things. It's like Bitcoin and other crypto native assets, which I can't tell you what the price is going to be in 3 months. You know, price moves up and down. But what I can tell you is crypto as technology infrastructure is going to be big, and we're investing. We've got Robinhood Chain, we've got Robinhood Wallet, we've got our tokenization initiatives, and I think we're still very, very early. So this is going to play out over many years, and you'll see the next phase of what we've been working on in the UK in July.
Yeah, and on the monetization side, a couple things we point you to. First, we are crypto bullish, as Vlad said, but it's less than 20% of our revenue last year, about 18%. So it's an important part of the business, but we've vastly diversified. On the take rate specifically, it's an output metric. It's not something we goal on. What we're seeing is active traders remain on the platform and we're winning market share. And so we're going to continue to invest there. The counterfactual is take rates could be higher, but you wouldn't have as many active traders. And so we don't want to goal on that. As I mentioned, it's a little bit lower in April, but we're already starting to see it rebound. The other thing we're super excited about is institutional. And so we bought Bitstamp last year, the crypto exchange, seeing really healthy market share there. Institutional tends to be more resilient throughout the market cycles, and so we're gaining share there. So everything we're seeing is still healthy, active traders growing an institutional book. And as Vlad mentioned, we're making big investments in tokenization and on the infrastructure side as well.
All right, thank you, Shiv. All right, the next question is from Patrick Moley at Piper.
Yes, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the question. So Vlad and Shiv, one of the things you guys have done great historically has been in understanding where the puck is going in terms of retail trends, whether that's altcoin trading and Dogecoin or prediction markets here more recently. But I think the biggest story in my mind in retail trading year to date has been in perpetual futures. And I don't know if we've touched on it yet this call. I know you launched crypto perpetual futures in Europe in the fourth quarter. So would love to get your thoughts or just an update on how that rollout's gone, what adoption trends have looked like. And we've seen volumes kind of explode on some of these on-chain venues like Hyperliquid. So Vlad, would love to just get your broader thoughts on perpetuals as a product going forward internationally. And, what are the hurdles to maybe offering that to US customers as well? Thanks.
Yeah, absolutely. The perpetuals product, I'm glad you asked about it because in Shiv's answer to the last question, I was going to butt in and say, perpetuals overseas have been doing really, really well. And of course, we've listed those on Bitstamp, our exchange, and are making them available to EU customers. And we're seeing healthy growth. The product keeps getting better and better. It's a regulated product, unlike some of the on-chain competition, which means that we can't go quite as high on the leverage that we offer to customers, but customers have been requesting, and we've been increasing that. So yeah, we're doubling down. We've got our perpetuals team is working hard, and we see an opportunity to offer even more to customers. Now, as far as the US goes, we do need some rule changes to offer perpetuals here. The products that some of the other firms have been offering that they've been calling perpetuals are really just long expiry traditional futures contracts. So you don't quite have perpetual contracts in the US. And I think that's actually not an amazing thing thus far because people have been going to these unregulated offshore entities where there's not as much protection, not as many rules. So yeah, stay tuned. Of course, we're engaging with the regulators, and we have the ability, since we have this product in the EU, to roll it out in the US as well. And I do think it's an attractive product for active traders. So we'll definitely be on the front lines of any perpetuals expansion or regulatory easings here.
Okay, thank you, Vlad. The next question is from Tanner from Future Investing.
Tanner.
Hey, Vlad. Hey, Shiv. Thanks for having me, guys. My question's on AI and automation. You guys have been early here at Robinhood, but how's this shifted your hiring strategy, and where are you seeing efficiencies or reduced hiring needs across the organization?
Shiv.
Yeah, happy to take this. So a couple things I'll point you to. Last year we said we had $100 million in efficiency, primarily in CX and software engineering. If you look at our volumes last year, they grew about 50%, and hiring and customer service was about flat. And so while we didn't need to reduce any hiring, what we were able to do is absorb all of our volumes through the increased productivity, which is great. What we're doing now is we're just shipping faster. So we're still hiring engineers, we're still growing.
So real quick, guys, I just want to say it looks like, this earnings call has been going on for quite a while. You never know with earnings. Sometimes they're quick. Sometimes they're like this. They go for a long period of time. So I just want to say to everyone who's here, we still have 7 in the live stream. I appreciate you guys for being here. Do you want me to close out on this earnings call? I know, we require a lot of attention span being able to sit here for 2 hours. Do you guys want to wrap up? I have a ton of notes here on this earnings call, or do you guys want to finish it? For everyone who is here, I'm going to let this gentleman speak again, but let me know if you want to just hear my opinion or if you want to see the finale. We might be coming close to the end of the Q&A, so I'll put the audio back on, but let me know in the live chat.
Hey guys, can you see me? Oh,
yes.
Looks like my video's stuck. I don't think my video's working. Okay. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yes. All right. Great. Good afternoon. Hey, just wanted to just touch on the trading behavior between active and less active traders. So really, as you bring in more accounts and the net deposits continue to really perform very well. How are you seeing the customer mix evolve from those new deposits? So what I'm getting at is, to what extent are these more active traders and you're building that book faster than, say, the less active traders? Just thinking about how the different market environments could influence the trading patterns. And then also just on crypto as well, are you seeing a lot of cross currents between those active traders using crypto, or is that really a separate class of traders?
I mean, one of the things that we've been really excited about is the growth in gold attach rate. So remember, the gold attach rate of new customers used to be in the low single digits, and now it's 40%. So 40% of new customers that come in end up adopting gold, and that customer typically then goes into the high yield offering, which is a great value prop for gold. So if you remember, if you have gold, you get interest on your cash on Robinhood with $2.5 million of FDIC protection. You also get interest on your options collateral, which for the active traders is a very, very nice new feature that they've been asking for a while, along with just like dozens of other things, right? You've got the gold credit card, banking is a gold only offering. So we've been, the behavior we've been seeing is someone comes in, a large portion of the time, they try gold, then they start looking at all of the other products that we offer, and we've been really successful in kind of driving that adoption. And trading might not be a daily use case for most people. I mean, some people build up their portfolios, then they kind of trade a little bit less frequently. But some of the other products, like your banking, your credit card, are daily use case product. And I think we have a huge opportunity in the coming months and years to get more and more of our customers into banking and credit. And then we think that, even though the numbers are really good with 800,000 cardholders and 125,000 bank accounts with a 40% direct deposit attach rate, these are still relatively small numbers. And I think we've got a lot of wood to chop to get more and more of our customers on them. So I think that'll be a big tailwind to multi-product adoption over the next year.
Yeah. In terms of where the deposits are coming from, I think the main way to look at it is just broadly diversified. So as Vlad said, it's going into retirement, it's going to ETFs, it's also going to high yield cash, it's also going into trading. So it's one of the benefits of being diversified business. That's one of the ways we have the 18 billion net deposits. It's customers using the platform in a wide variety of ways.
All right. Thank you, Shiv. Thank you, Vlad. The next question is from David Smith at Truist.
Hi, following up on the discussion about banking, could you talk a little bit more about, the extent to which you see this driving new customer growth as opposed to like ARPU expansion and the leverage you see for both there?
Yeah, I think that there is a lot of potential there, and we haven't really tapped it because right now, the way that we've been giving customers banking is we've largely been giving it to gold card customers, and gold card customers are the gold cards are largely being driven by existing customers. So it's the story has really been getting our existing customers to adopt the gold card. Now, I think over the next year, you should see it shifting a little bit more from that to getting new customers on board who come specifically for the gold card and adopt our brokerage and retirement services as an adjunct to doing that. We've run some experiments there, but there's a whole bunch of things that we'll have to do to make that smoother and nicer that I think we're excited about. So yes, big opportunity. It's been really about proving the economics, and we frankly, I think despite the fact that some customers wish they could get the gold card earlier and earlier, if you look at successful credit card rollouts and the speed with which we're rolling out these cards, this is actually right near the top. Like by all objective measures, if you look at card programs that have rolled out faster than us, they've pretty much gotten into trouble, right? So we're right up there with like fast yet responsible rollout. So we haven't been limited by this at this point. But as we approach, as we get into the millions of cardholders, you should expect a little bit more top of funnel with the card and banking, which I think increasingly is going to be part of the same package. I mean, when you think of gold card, you'll think of banking as one and the same.
All right. Thank you, Vlad. The next question is from John Todaro at Needham.
Hey guys, good to see you. Thanks for taking my question. Wondering if we could just go back to Bitstamp for a moment. As you pointed out, it's obviously been quite resilient despite the crypto downturn. You'd mentioned institutional lending earlier on the call. Just wondering if you could expand on that or more cross-sell opportunities within that segment to kind of drive some additional revenue beyond crypto trading.
Yeah, I mean, I would just tell you at the high level. So we closed our acquisition of Bitstamp about a year ago, and one of the first things we did right around our crypto event in the south of France last year was we got together with a lot of our institutional customers for Bitstamp. We had a nice lunch, and it was very eye-opening because I got my notepad out. I was like, tell me, all the things that I need to write down. We're going to deliver them to you in record time to make sure all of your volume happens on Bitstamp. And, I was expecting all these fancy things, but it's like, I just want you to not drop my packets. When I submit an order, I want you to acknowledge. So it's like basic stuff, right? And we just went through, we've been fixing that stuff. Our exchange at first couldn't handle a huge throughput of messages per second. So we were like getting throttled. Things were slow, right? So the engineering team has been doing yeoman's work of fixing all of that. So you're talking about, increases in institutional market share and all of these things. There's just a lot of low-hanging fruit here, which is what makes us so excited about, all the things that we're adding. And this is even before the institutional lending desk upgrades, before all the things that we're doing with perpetual futures. So I think we're at the very beginning, and you should expect, telling the customers this, keep giving us the list. We want to earn your institutional business, and I think we've demonstrated that this team can ship.
Yeah, on the institutional lending side, it's actually very simple, as Vlad said. A lot of it's just working capital. So you're not taking credit risk, but a lot of the institutional clients are used to having capital to trade either instantaneously or in working capital needs, whether it's overnight or on the weekends. Given our balance sheet and our technology, we're able to provide that. And so it's another thing that was just a low-hanging fruit that we're seeing really great adoption on, which is another way to monetize, but also grow market share.
All right. Thank you. The next question is from Amit, from Amit is Investing.
Hey, Vlad. Hey, Shiv. Congrats on a great quarter, and thank you for taking my question. My question is around international expansion. You guys just got the Singapore license, bought a brokerage in Indonesia. Is the plan to kind of expand through crypto offerings, maybe tokenization, then banking products, different promotions to get customers? Or I guess, can you walk us through how do you think of global expansion going into 2027 and what the strategy is to get customers in these different countries? Thank you, guys.
Yeah, so it's actually both. We want to be everywhere with our core products, and the core products being obviously trading and eventually banking and spending. So in a few markets where it makes sense and there's like well-established regulatory environments that we can follow, we've gone and gotten full licensure. That's the in-principle approval in Singapore. You mentioned Indonesia and obviously the UK as well. I also think tokenization, which what we unveiled in the EU last year was like Robinhood, but with the infrastructure being on chain. So instead of traditional equities, stock tokens, so tokenized stocks. And I think what that'll allow us to do is handle the long tail of if we want to be live in hundreds of countries, the tokenized offering will just be a quicker way to serve those customers. And then we can see where we're getting particular traction and where we're going to need to go deeper with more traditional offerings. And typically what those offerings are is if the jurisdiction has, you know, tax wrappers, for example, that we have to build and very specifically build to. It's the tax wrappers. It's also their local exchanges and market centers. So, you know, if you want to trade some obscure exchange like Kazakhstan securities, which believe it or not, some customers ask for, then we'll have to do local market specific integrations.
Yeah, our simple 2x2 matrix is organic and non-organic brokerage or crypto. If you go through those 4 boxes, we've actually gone through all of them. Some of them we've built organically through brokerage, such as the UK. Some of them we've built organically through crypto, such as the EU, and we've also done acquisitions. To Vlad's point, we want to be everywhere. We're indifferent to which way we go. We're going to look at what's the speed to market and what's the best ROI and how do we have the right to win for customers. And then that's going to be the path for how we choose.
Yeah, and the line between these is going to get increasingly blurred. So even though EU is brokerage first, we have stock tokens, which gives you exposure, equities exposure. So I think you'll see that as a trend too. We'll be getting more and more traditional brokerage assets in tokenized form and delivered to customers around the world.
All right, thank you. The next question is from Ramsey at Cantor.
Hi, guys. Thank you so much for squeezing me in here. I wanted to ask about the Trump accounts again and just get your thoughts on, you know, levels of engagement there, and also the degree to which you might have a plan to, you know, cross-sell or whether you'll be able to sort of cross-sell some of your other products over time into that base.
Look, I think for us, this is really a long-term opportunity. It's an opportunity to be in front of this next generation of customers, and an opportunity to show that, you know, we can be a reliable partner to the U.S. government as they're pursuing initiatives, right? And I think that you know, we're proud to be a part of the program. We're not really spending too much time thinking about how this could be done to benefit us. We're instead focused on, you know, how we can make the best product that the government has ever been associated with. So with our friends over at National Design Studio, I think we're all just super motivated to make sure this is like one of the best financial products we've ever used. And of course, we're proud of our role as the sole initial broker and trustee. We don't take that lightly, and we want to make sure that we deliver the highest possible quality product that we can. We're very proud of what we're going to do. The best, we've got some of our best people working on it, and I believe that good things will follow from us doing this as a business.
All right, thank you, Vlad. The next question is from Ed Engel at Compass Point.
Hi, thanks for taking my question. You mentioned strong April rebounds across equities, options, and prediction markets, but could you give an update on how April crypto volumes are trending relative to the past few months?
Good question. No, didn't give an update on that. I'd say it's probably more of the same. We are really seeing the rebound in equities, options, and as I mentioned, prediction markets around 3 billion, which will probably be our second best month ever. Margin book also continues to grow. Crypto also remains about similar to what it was in Q1 and kind of in that zip code.
All right, thank you, Shiv. The next question is from Michael Cypress at Morgan Stanley.
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks for taking the question. Wanted to ask about API connectivity. Just curious how API connectivity is contributing to Robinhood today. I believe you offer it in crypto. Hoping you could elaborate a bit on your API strategy, key use cases, how you see the opportunity set there emerging on a multi-year view.
Yeah, it's a great question. You know, historically, we haven't really invested too much in API offerings. I think we've been focusing on building first-party experiences that maximally leverage our strengths of like design and user experience. That said, we're interested in API offerings. I think that now that things are shifting in a more agentic direction, like there's a opportunity for us to be differentiated there. We're a low cost provider. We have great infrastructure. We have great APIs that we use internally. And I know there have been a lot of projects out there on GitHub and other things where people kind of attempt to reverse engineer.
This is a very long earnings call, I will say, but something I do love, not to cut off Mr. Vlad here, I love that these representatives for Robinhood, they don't dodge any questions. This in itself is bullish. So many times you will see earnings calls and, they'll just limit the questions. These guys have been answering questions now for hours. First, they gave a great presentation, and now they are still answering on these Q&As. So we're going to give the opportunity for maybe one more Q&A, and then we'll start to wrap up here. Guys, this is the longest live stream we've ever done here on Green Money Momentum. So again, for everyone who is here, this is success in itself. Great to have this earnings call. And in my opinion, everything thus far has been perceived bullish. I will be talking about this earnings call, the notes that I have here in just a moment, letting one more Q go, one more A go, and then we'll wrap it up. But then we'll do a daily talk of stock and talk about some different individual tickers as well.
One is it's not always easy to be a government subcontractor, and we're learning how to do it, right? It's a first thing for us, but there was a long process to get to this point. And I don't know if a lot of other fintechs have made that leap. It's like as a company that's been around for a little bit more than 10 years, it's a big step for us. So yeah, I mean, we think there's a number of ways that we could help this country. And I think it's going to be important, right? Because there's certainly a lot of disruption coming with AI and with other things. And I think that we're well positioned to sort of help with that. And certainly people's finances are going to be a key part of that. So yeah, there might be other things that we can be helpful with in the US in the future. And also, ever since we've gotten involved with the Trump accounts, we've heard from lots and lots of states, so not even other countries. So it's been states and other countries who just want to do similar things. And our focus has been on just doing this one thing, but we also recognize that once this is successful, I think that it's going to be something that goes all around the world. And of course, I think that's a big opportunity for us to continue to extend our mission.
So there's probably some more to this earnings call, but we are going to officially wrap up the earnings call here. I got a ton of good notes, and I love what Vlad said there to finish the live earnings call for us. I think that was a perfect note to finish with, and he was just talking about the disruption that is coming with AI, how that will be a wave, how that will affect people. But with Robinhood, they're looking to at least hopefully help people use AI in their favor. We've talked about this with Cortex. There was some discussion discussion about Cortex in this live's earnings call, and there's a ton that we're going to go over. But one of the reasons why I love Robinhood, and while all of this was happening, let's go back to the actual price action with Robinhood, because Robinhood has actually seen quite the sell-off here with this earnings call. And we did talk about some gamma exposure levels before we actually started. What's so impressive here, I got to say, when it does come to gamma, you know, if you don't know what I'm talking about here, let's see. I think I did undo my gamma exposure levels for this week. Let's go back to that just to show you guys what I'm talking about, how gamma can act as certain levels of either support or resistance, because this is where a lot of options contracts, whether they are puts or calls, are positioned at. So before we actually looked at this earnings call today, we did look at the call and put gamma. And if we just look at it in terms of net gamma, the higher levels of resistance right around 70. And then when it comes to more on the put sides, right under the $80 mark, with a lot of the cluster being right around $74 to $78. And when we do look at where Robinhood is, we drew out these levels just yesterday. You could see that this right now is acting as a pretty accurate level of support. It did close this gap right now, and right now Robinhood is at 74. So ignore that Robinhood itself has not actually updated on this 1-year chart. The actual candlestick is more going to look like that. Now, we did see some blood, or I guess it'll go into the next day because it is here in the after hours, but we did see some blood here with this earnings call, down by 10%, in my opinion, with everything we saw with the live earnings call, with all the question and answers, and with what was actually reported in this earnings. In my opinion, this was actually very bullish, and I am not concerned in the short term about the sell-off that we have seen. I believe that it is unjust. And again, I am looking at this with a positive scope because there are a lot of positives to talk about. Year-over-year growth, we had 15% year-over-year growth, 20% up in net deposits. They have a big focus on AI for them within. It's helping with productivity, also with Cortex customers. Also, look at this right here. Again, Robinhood truly being Robinhood, being so liberating. We are going to see that dividends could be coming earlier with Robinhood, because there's the initial date when the dividend is announced, and then typically it is paid out about 2 to 3 weeks later. Some have complained to Robinhood that with other brokerages, they get their dividend in the morning, where with Robinhood, you get them in the after hours. So again, this great company decided to listen to what people were saying, and they said, you know what, hold up, we're not just going to give it to you in the morning like all the other brokerages. No, you know what, when that dividend is declared, we're going to give it to you right then and there. Robinhood, a very volatile play, a high beta play, has a 2 in terms of beta. So I am not at all shocked by this volatility. Again, I believe that this sell-off is unjust. And when we just look at where the all-time high was all the way back last year, in October, we are down in terms of the Fibonacci retracement zone. We are down in very favorable positions right here. So I do believe that this is a great buy the dip opportunity. I have actually bought the dip while all of this has happened, because it's a blessing right now. We are still down by 50% from all-time highs, while the major indexes are starting to push to all-time highs. And so with the way the markets have been moving, in my opinion, with everything we're going to see coming up when it comes to the Federal Reserve, the midterms, everything like that, the Federal Reserve doing quantitative easing or cutting more on the rates with our new chairman, who is expected on May 11th. I'm expecting a very bullish second half to the year. Right now, we are in a cool down period. And what's funny is when you do look at Robinhood in terms of technical analysis, again, the setup right now so similar to last year. It's insane. Last year, we did have a big drop when Robinhood was valued at 70. It went all the way down to 30, so a little bit more than 50%, and then it had a massive skyrocket up, leaving all those levels behind. That is currently what I see now. Technically, we are still in this downtrend right here, but in terms of where we may be In terms of price action for this week, again, tomorrow is going to be the Fed's meeting, the last Fed meeting with Jerome Powell. We could remain right around these levels. I'm actually expecting for tomorrow to be bullish with this FOMC meeting, and that is because the markets, in my opinion, are starting to look past Jerome Powell. Unless he does something to absolutely piss on the market, saying something terrible, I am expecting to remain around these levels of support and resistance that I have drawn out here. Now, again, we just filled a gap. Also, we do have one gap that is a bit lower, right around $71. And if the dealers do want to push under these levels of puts right here, it is possible. But again, we have a lot of exposure at higher levels around 90. And again, in my opinion, everything was very positive in this earnings call, including the Trump accounts. Robinhood was talking about their involvement with the Trump account. And what's crazy is with this, yes, a little bit of an expense to initially get it started, but they are going to see a net positive with this with time. It is like an investment. But you go over to Bloomberg, and this is what I'm talking about with the news and media. Trump likes to call it the fake news. I'm not going to call it the fake news, but news could spin things in a certain way that is just so negative. So Robinhood falls. This is Bloomberg's explanation why Robinhood had this drop with this earnings call. Robinhood falls after warning of expenses tied to Trump accounts, despite this company having year-over-year growth. Besides this just being an investment into the future. Think about how much those accounts will grow, and them, technically being in bed with the government with this, all of that to me is a positive. Also, it's like this right here is talking like, oh, it's falling. Well, I really believe that this right here was just an unjust sell-off. I do believe we are going to see a big rebound. Again, a very, very volatile stock, and I have bought the dip here in terms of just the day. We are now low on RSI and MACD. In terms of long-term, we are still technically in a downtrend, but it does appear that we could be bucking out of it pretty soon, especially if market sentiment does stay hot, does stay strong. So with that, also another thing with Robinhood, they have high conversion. About 40% of their new customers start using Robinhood Gold. That is incredible. I have been with Robinhood Gold for many, many years now. I don't even know when I signed up. It was so long ago, and it's like $5 a month. It's a reoccurring expense. It's really nothing, and I can't even imagine using Robinhood without Robinhood Gold. I don't even at this point know the features that are all within Robinhood Gold, but there's a lot of great ones, including their card now. And when you are with Robinhood Gold, you do get that high yielding offering. So I do know that you do get that high yielding offering, 3.5%. Also, we've talked a ton about the share repurchase program with Robinhood, which is so important. They are buying back their stocks. They literally mentioned that they were buying back the stocks most recently. So whether you trust my opinion on Robinhood or you don't, just know that Robinhood is bullish on Robinhood right now. Before the share repurchases have shown up here, there is less than 800 million shares outstanding. In terms of supply and demand, just think that the supply is actually going down, and I do believe that the demand is only going to increase within Robinhood because they are doing so much, when it comes to their brokerage side of the platform. They have all of that, but also they did mention that they are looking to implement crypto out in Canada. And also another thing that I love about Robinhood, again, these CEOs, these members on Robinhood, these representatives are very bullish for the company because they love to come out with news and they are always informing investors. Again, these guys are amazing. They did not have to sit through a 2-hour earnings call today and answer all those Q&As, but they did it anyway. And again, they are not hiding from investors. They're saying everything out there. And so they are buying back shares. What was I just about to say here? And oh, yes, in terms of bullish catalysts coming up, Robinhood is going to have a big crypto event out in the UK in July and a Robinhood summit later in fall. 2 times to be bullish on Robinhood. We may get even more bullish announcements during that time. When we look at this run up in 2025, a lot of it was because of bullish catalysts and because Robinhood is always setting great expectations for the future. A lot of expected growth. Now, we did just have a cool down. We are on discount, down by 50% from the highs, officially 50% again with this drop that we saw today. So I bought the dip, and I will buy more in the options market tomorrow if we do stay down on this play going into tomorrow. And again, those will be leaps for the future. I like this. The break-even price comes down, and I just get a better deal for what I say is an amazing long-term investment. Again, it's funny that there was a sell-off today because everything was really positive, and the only negative thing you could say is, oh, those Trump accounts cost some money in the short term. And then also we did look at some of the financials before, and then yes, right now they are down about 40% for the crypto transactions that have been going through. But this is during a time when crypto has been bleeding, and also again, they are looking to expand their crypto services, literally having a big crypto event out in the UK in July. They also talked a bit about tokenization. So all of that is on the board. So a lot of positives. I really took this earnings call as a positive. Again, I am not too worried here in the short term. That is so funny. Holy cow, the hood gets burned. Yeah, for those short-term investors who are going to sell their hood and see this as a scary moment in time, they may be reverting back to the hood. But Eric, great to see you here. That is a funny one right there. Will hood fill that gap at 71? 70, it's definitely possible, especially if we do go down again. When we look at gamma exposure, we could go down to these levels, still a decent amount of gamma. We also have a lot of gamma that could expire in the worthless for calls, and so the bears did take control today. I do believe that we could sit around these levels around 70. If it does fill the gap, I would consider that to just be healthy. And again, it's not out of possibility, as again, we are still technically, especially after today's earnings call, we are still technically in a downtrend here. And then I feel your pain, Trevor. Yeah, my friend, it happens. But you know what? With a long-term vision, with a long-term thought on Robinhood, I am not too concerned. Actually, I really liked what they said in the earnings call. I thought the financials looked great. I love the members of Robinhood. And overall, I am very excited and very bullish for Robinhood and for the future. And then Kraken Robotics is taking a dump too. My friend, sorry to hear that. I do have a Charles Schwab now because of you, and I need to get into Kraken Robotics. I really do. I mean, I know you've been telling me this video after video, and I am bullish on Kraken Robotics. Right now, it's only at $5.67. I mean, a very bullish trend. So Eric, I know you're hurting here in the short term. Sorry, you're losing some momentum here, but as a prospect of this company, as someone who is interested in Kraken Robotics, and I mean it, I need to do it. I just need to deposit the money, and I'm going to buy some Kraken. This to me is actually an opportunity. I'm happy we're a little bit down, but that's because I want to invest, and that is because you have told me about Kraken Robotics, and I've looked into Kraken Robotics, and with everything you said about Andrill and everything else, it is very bullish. So don't worry, my friend, these equities go up and down, and just like we've been talking about through this whole stream, when it comes to mindset, the bears, the financial media, just overall media has a lot of negatives to say. Everyone is always so negative and so short-term minded. Now, I know I've talked before about short-term shorting, but that is, again, I've always said short-term shorting. I'm not holding crazy shorts, long overnight or anything like that. With those shorts, they provided like minimal profit. And now, I just see opportunity to go long. So I'm going long on so many different things. I'm participating in the options market. I'm going to run over the play Big Bear AI here in a second. I know you're a fan of Big Bear, Eric, as well as others in this chat. And Big Bear is having a big day, but I am not at all concerned about the short-term fear, uncertainty, and doubt. The scenario that I see playing out through the second half of the year, again, never financial advice, just my opinion, but I do believe that we just saw a big technical bounce, and to me, it's actually insane that the market gods may be giving us 2 years in a row of the same pattern. Last year, we did drop all the way into bear market territory. This year, we had a correction, and then we ripped up last year, and we continued the bullish momentum until October. I do believe that could be the case here. There are so many that are still bearish on the markets. I see so many other financial sources still saying that this is the end of the world. I was buying the dip towards the downside. Also, I must admit, I got a bit cautious towards the downside, thinking that we could officially drop into bear market territory. But what did Mark Twain say? What's his famous quote? Well, he spent a lot of his time worrying about things that never happened. That's what I feel is happening right now. Many investors are thinking that the markets have to absolutely tank. They're looking at the whole Iran situation. They're looking at high inflation and all these terrible government statistics. Well, I am looking at the Federal Reserve and the government and how they want to push the markets up. And right now we have the most bullish president of all time for the markets. I mean, it's so funny, you know, things could look devastating on Main Street, but Wall Street can look great, and President Trump will take all the opportunity to brag about the markets at all-time highs, even if it's just for a small moment of time. So Trump is super bullish on the markets. He wants that to push up. The Federal Reserve ideally doesn't want to destroy anything either. That's why inflation is what it is now. That's why everything is so wonky, because they are constantly kicking the can down the road. And even though the Federal Reserve and the government aren't technically together, you know, the Federal Reserve really isn't federal, you know, they are aligned with those same viewpoints of wanting to push the markets up. I mean, if that was not the case, the Federal Reserve would not allow the government to borrow as much as they would, and they would, you know, jack rates up to 20% or something crazy like that. But really, we are in the time of the great melt up. And just like we saw in Robinhood's earnings, it's like so liberating what is coming. I really do believe that we are entering into a time frame. If you just joined us, you know, after the earnings call, at the end of the earnings call, Robinhood CEO Vlad was talking about how there is a big wave of AI coming on, how that could destroy jobs, you know, how it will be crazy for the economic landscape. But Robinhood, what they're trying to do is at least use AI and be able to use this brokerage for people to better their finances, to make more money, overall positive for individuals who are trading within the markets. Again, I believe we're going to see the great melt up. And again, even if everything goes to shit in the short term, if this war in Iran continues to get worse and we see consumer prices continue to go up, well, inflation can first go a lot of the times into those consumer goods, energy, everything like that, and then later into assets. That's why I am super bullish on the markets right now, super bullish on Robinhood. Again, thank you, market gods. We are now down 50% from the all-time high. Woo! I am buying the dip. This is a tremendous opportunity. I believe in this company. I've done a ton of research on Robinhood, and I know that things are going to get better. So I am not at all worried right now. And talking about plays that I know that you are also into, Eric, Big Bear AI. Look at this. This is why it pays to remain bullish or to take long-term positions. I've talked about this many times. I have some leaps on the Big Bear, have a lot of options contracts, 2027, 2028. I'm an honest man. So yes, I did buy many of those when it was riding around the 200-day MA. Technically, those are high right now. I'm not concerned. I bought the dip most recently, and I bought the dip once again on Big Bear AI, and both of those dips with the movements today, well, looking like they could be very wealthy buy opportunities over time. I love where Big Bear is currently sitting at in terms of technical analysis. And by the way, everybody who is here, and this has been, I want to say, success to Green Money Momentum. Success thanks to all of you who stay engaged with me. This is the longest live stream we have ever done. The previous record was at 2 hours and 7 minutes, but that earnings call went long. So we are at brand new all-time highs in terms of how long we have streamed. But going back to Big Bear AI, so thanks to everyone who's here, but going back to Big Bear AI, you know, I see dips as buying opportunities, especially in what I love, which is options contracts on small caps. And if we do get a second half of the year, which is bullish, and I know the Bears don't want to think that, but if we do get a second half of the year that is bullish, I could see the Big Bear having a big run up, recently dropping under $4. When we go to gamma exposure, again, we were talking a lot about the gamma with Robinhood. Crazy. I'm not saying this is an absolute indicator of what stocks will do, but once I started to understand gamma exposure, especially when you go on the weekly, it's insane how accurate it really can be for levels of support and resistance. Because with Robinhood, we dropped basically right down to these levels of negative gamma. So the Bears definitely took control of Robinhood today, but it's insane because it dropped to those levels, and I'm not at all worried because I see where that cluster of options contracts is. What is very interesting with Big Bear AI, and I'm sure many of you have heard that term before, gamma squeeze. You know, we heard a lot of that squeeze back in the day when it came to when it came to GME, like, oh, this is the ultimate gamma squeeze. Well, that was because when it comes to the dealers, oftentimes, whether you're in positive or negative gamma, once you get to these levels of big cluster, of big pressure, that's where you start to see a lot of buying or selling from the dealers. And so you could see, like right here, we have a massive level of gamma with Big Bear AI with that strike of $4. So are the dealers buying into Big Bear AI? Is this a bullish sign right now that we are pushing up? All I could say, you know, I can't predict the future or anything like that, but 4 could act as a magnet. So I could see Big Bear definitely returning back to 4, not to poop on the party or anything, but I could see that happening. But also, if this is a gamma squeeze, if the dealers are starting to buy up the Big Bear, we could push a lot higher. So again, looking at Big Bear this week, I would say the main levels are right around $4 and $4.50 with a bit of gamma also around 5. So I am expecting to remain around these levels, but we'll just have to see how the markets do react to the FOMC meeting tomorrow. So today I was mainly focused on Robinhood. Let's see if there was any positive catalysts or anything around BBAI today. So it doesn't look like there's any fresh news with Big Bear AI, but having a push up overall. So still a positive day with the Big Bear. Now, we did have a request for a stock here in a second. We had this earlier. I want to get back to a chat. Two Wheels Pursuit asked for UPS. So now we'll take a look here at UPS. I would say, you know, UPS is a great company. It's crazy the sell-off that happened with UPS. I can't believe UPS is at $104 right now with such a nasty sell-off going all the way back to 2022. So this right here also looks like a great buy the dip opportunity. Now, I don't know a ton about UPS in terms of their financials. I'm not going to lie to you and say that I do a lot of research on this company or anything like that. I really don't look at UPS at all, but I will say that UPS is going to be with us for the long term. Again, a great blue chip company. So right now at a price of $100, it does look like a great opportunity if you are going to hold for the long term. I don't know what has caused quite the sell-off in UPS, but if we do look just at terms of technical analysis, it does look like we did bounce off a level of support not long ago. I'll just cover this stock really quick, Burberry, because this was one that was very interesting to me when I started my channel back in 2024, just in terms of technical analysis. Where were we at? Where was 2024? So with Burberry, you look, that was like an all-time low. We were low on everything like that. And then the stock had this big rollover and boom, it bounced right off those levels. So that's just in terms of technical analysis. I'll also do a quick one for you here. I know you're a big fan of this company right here. I also am. I've also added some options contracts on this, so a great opportunity. SoundHound AI currently at $8.09, and I know you have said this, credit to you for saying this, Two Wheels, you believe that we may have seen a double bottom within SoundHound, currently fighting for life right around the 50-day moving average. And what's incredible is, again, we're talking about being way down from all-time highs in terms of technical analysis. We are way down from all-time highs and even 52-week highs within SoundHound AI. And if we start to see some real cutting, if we start to see a more stimulative monetary policy from the Fed, and we start to see a lot of bullish momentum within the markets, which I do believe that we're about to get into that time period, because the markets traded sideways for basically 5 months and then down for another 2. You know, it's like the markets don't go down forever. I do believe that not just the major index is pushing to all-time highs, but also the small caps are going to start seeing some more momentum soon here. And QBTS, one of those plays that I am looking at, D-Wave Quantum, I do believe can also have a lot of bullish momentum. Talking about similar setups, I mean, again, never financial advice, just my opinion. I want to say this to everybody right here. The play that made me the most money in 2025 was D-Wave Quantum, QBTS. And if we do continue to bleed into the markets, what's very interesting is, again, the setup last year was so similar, but around tariffs and not the war. This year, around the war. Last year, around this time, D-Wave came out with their best earnings ever. Let's see, what is this quarter right here? Q1 of 2026. So I want to go to Q1 of 2025. They absolutely exploded and beat earnings, and the stock ripped just insane. I made so much ROI, definitely my best play of 2025 and one of my best investments ever. Okay, so I'm not saying that the market setup has to be the exact same as last year, but it just is really looking like that with the way the major indexes are rebounding, and then with that technology starting to see some more bullish momentum, and even AI, excluding today, there has started to be some more hype around AI once again. If we do see a bullish earnings from from QBTS here in 14 days, which is going to be in the morning, I could see there being a lot of price action with QBTS, especially if we get some type of squeeze like we got last year. Because when it comes to these plays in technology, AI, everything like that, again, the bears are always thinking of the short side of the short stick. All the reasons to be negative on quantum. So many think that quantum is going to take 20 years to really take full effect into our lives. People look at the negative balance sheets that quantum computing companies have had historically, but they don't look at all the future growth that is expected and how quantum is already within our lives, how much is changing with quantum. And D-Wave Quantum still has a high short interest of 15%, still technically a small cap at 6.95 billion. The first time we ever covered this company, it was just slightly under 1 billion. There was a 30% short interest, and then we saw that squeeze back in 2025. Again, a super volatile sector, all of quantum, where the shorts can really get squeezed. And what's beautiful with quantum is it does run in correlation. So when one quantum stock is bullish, typically, or at basically all of them correlate and are all bullish together. And then great to see Big Bear in the green again. Let's go back down out here in chat. What is the big catalyst for BBAI's jump today? You know, I didn't see anything myself that really looked positive for Big Bear necessarily. Again, maybe we're just breaking through those levels of gamma. When I just researched it a second ago, nothing really. But again, I'm invested for Big Bear for the long term. I'm about to order my second drink, and I'm going to go long on Robinhood now. Hey, that's great. If you guys missed it earlier, Stephanie Diaz being an absolute legend. Stephanie, thank you so much. I know you said you emailed me. I'll have to check that email here after. And if you really are at the Biltmore, I may join you here in a little bit. So, Stephanie, if that is the case, I will buy you a drink. If you guys missed it earlier, Stephanie gave us a $300 super chat. Everybody in chat, give Stephanie a thumbs up. I appreciate you so much, Stephanie. That's amazing. I'm happy that you're making money and that you feel that you're gaining knowledge through this channel. Then UAE leaves OPEC, so gas prices are going down. Again, yes, a lot of people worried about gas prices in the short term, and you know, we've looked a lot at the oil prices here on this channel. Let's actually take a look at oil, because I didn't even look at oil today. I was so focused on Robinhood. When it does come to oil, you know, technically still oil has been in a uptrend, bouncing off the 50-day moving average most recently. And then we may be seeing a bullish cross on gas here. So in the short term, there could be even more bullish momentum for oil, which could cause a bit of a sell-off in stocks. But again, just like I was mentioning earlier, if we do continue to see events like this, well, things could get bad, but things won't get worse. They won't get too ugly, because that government and that Federal Reserve will step in and save the day. By the way, NEO stock is also on the rise if anyone is interested. This is one that has been talked about for many, many years. I know it's also lower on the market cap at 637. This is an EV play. We saw massive squeeze momentum back in 2021. So maybe there could be that energy again sometime in the future. Give me 1 second, guys. I just got to go outside real quick. I have an employee here, so give me 1 second, guys, and I will return right back to you. And I just want to show a quick video here. Let's see. Give me a second, guys, and then I will be right back, and we'll finish this up. We'll probably get 2-3 hours on this live stream. But again, we were talking about technology and AI and how much it really can just change everything. So much creativity in AI. So I showed one Grand Theft Auto video earlier where it was World War II. This just shows the creativity. If you were ever a fan of Grand Theft Auto, this is CJ, and this is the AI Titanic. So I'm going to let this run. I just got to do something literally real quick. I'll be back in 2 minutes. So don't leave me. Enjoy this commercial break. I will be right back, everybody. I'll see you on the flip side, and we will finish on this daily talk of stock. Again, thank you all for being here, and I will be back in just a moment.
Shit, here we go again. We'll have ourselves a good time. I'm a pimp. Baby, let's do this. Hey, what's up, baby?
Do I look that easy?
That's what I like, a dominant woman.
I'll have 2 number 9s, a number 9 large, a number 6 with extra dip.
Excuse me.
I needs me a drink and a lady. You still wearing prison issue, man? A number 7, 2 number 45s.
I'll be honest, I ain't got a license.
Easy, puta.
Things has changed around here. I'm already in a crazy mood, asshole. Hey, what's up, baby? I hate gravity. Ah, shit. You wrecked my shit.
Have you ever bought into a stock only to see it dip right after? It's not bad luck. It's the reality of how challenging market timing can be. And the truth is, no system avoids losses entirely. But by learning how professionals use tools to study entry and exit probabilities, you can start to approach the market with clearer expectations. And that's what proper education provides: perspective and a framework to evaluate risk. Hi, I'm Felix Preen. This is Winston, the brains behind it all. And we've worked as investment bankers, well, me mostly, an economist, and also as a lawyer. And I spent more than 20 years in the financial world studying how professional traders approach the markets. When I first started trading, I was...
Shill, he's trying to sell you a course. Shill, get off of my page. Hope you guys liked that AI video. Yeah, I just had to take care of something for just a second. We got 10 here in the live stream. Again, for everyone who's here, this is our longest live stream we have ever done. We're 2 hours and 50 minutes in. We covered on the earnings call. So if you just joined us and you're curious about Robinhood, we did a lot of coverage on Robinhood. We talked about it for, the first like 2.5 hours of this live stream. Now we're just finishing with the daily talk of stock. What a day it has been. I'm feeling great overall. Great positive day. I love seeing this. I am buying the dip on Robinhood, not at all concerned about the bleeding that we saw. A very positive earnings call overall. A very positive earnings call overall. Man, you guys are so funny, man. You guys are so funny. UPS fell because of fuel prices. Going to be a good day to buy tomorrow. I agree, my friend. If we see, John, great to see you here, by the way. If we do see a lot of volatility tomorrow within the markets, let's take a look here at the VIX, by the way. If we see a lot of volatility in the markets because of the FOMC meeting, well, I'll just buy the dip. Seriously, buy the dip. I am not at all concerned. The VIX does look like there may be a bullish cross, so I would not doubt right at the 200-day moving average. Honestly, I would not doubt if some fear does enter back into the markets. But overall, the second half of the year does look bullish, and I am not going to be one of those investors who are scared, because scared money doesn't make money. And first off, I feel like this is going to happen if we do see a short-term dip. This is how many are going to feel. Damn, I wish I bought, right? That recently happened. Oh no, I'm so happy I didn't. Boom, right? And then what I wanted to hear on this was, where was it? Oh, I feel like the sentiment is traders are scared. The whole adage of stay away in May. Well, they're just looking at short-term fear, uncertainty, and doubt, thinking it's going to be an expensive summer because of oil. Yeah, they may not be wrong, but is that just a psyop to scare them out of those assets that are going to rip to the fucking moon? Because I'll tell you this, Robinhood again down by 50%. If I went to the grocery store and they offered me 50% off of whatever, hell yeah, that's a deal. So why do so many get so afraid of assets? Again, I'm not saying to, you know, over leverage yourself or like destroy your portfolio buying the dip, you know, be proper, like, you know, have proper risk management, but just see the opportunity. This is a beautiful price right here. And I mean, you guys are seeing a hell of an opportunity. Me personally, I would rather buy when there's fear, uncertainty, and doubt and not fear of missing out. I mean, I would have loved to see a green candlestick today. I'm already positioned, but now I have the blessing of time being on my side. Now this is giving me the opportunity to buy more of the dip if things stay depressed. I bought the dip here on the end of this earnings call. So I did buy the dip here on some shares. I'll buy some options contracts if things are continuing to be bloody for tomorrow. And then I have 4,000 shares of Sound at 798. Let's squeeze these shorts. I am there right there with you, brother. I would like to see a squeeze on these shorts. I think I might have asked you this another day, another trade. If you're here still in the live chat, do you play with options contracts at all? Because having such a bag of 4,000 Sound, that could mean that you could also have some very wealthy ROI with the options if you're interested in that. I might be a little drunk when I meet him. Who knows what happens? Well, Stephanie, I know you did email me. You told me. So I'll take a look here at that email once I'm off here. And if you're really at the Biltmore, I'll come meet you. And again, you gave me a $300 super chat. So I think Stephanie wants to pay for my time. Look at this right here. Again, blessings to you, Stephanie. Thank you so much. This is the most this channel has ever received. That is amazing. And that is because Stephanie is having a great day. She made 30 bands on Robinhood on shorting it. Now she says she's going to go long on Robinhood and maybe some other assets to say as well. But that is great, Stephanie. Again, thank you for being here. Thank you for the support to you and everybody else here. And then let's see. Let's get back to the chat. And then again, we're going to wrap up here in just a little bit. And then I hate when my shorts get squeezed. Enjoy it. Stephanie is the GOAT. Did anyone hear about the 4 guys on the deck of the Titanic? Can you tell us the story, Eric? Eric. One was head steward. Stephanie set the bar high. He said, guys, we just hit an iceberg. We got to get to the lifeboats now. The teacher said, OMG, what about the kids? I think BBAI got the TSA contract. LOL, just kidding. That's funny. The priest said, do we really have enough time for that? Big Bear AI. There's a lot of interest in that small cap right now. Again, this is one that we've covered a lot, and I will love if Big Bear AI does have a face rip and rally. I mean, again, we're right in the middle on the RSI. We're just pushing up on the candlestick chart, breaking past major levels of gamma right now at $4, at least currently. So anything is possible. ADAT, and then hurry up, Trevor. Yeah, I think that is it, guys. I think I am going to get out of here. So yeah, I guess I'm on my way to the Biltmore. Anyway, guys, thank you so much. This was such a fun live stream and our longest live stream we have ever done. I am going to wrap it up here when we officially reach the 3-hour mark. So we got 4 minutes left here, but Robinhood earnings was a fun one. We had the last live stream going for 2 hours and 7 minutes. Incredible that we've made it to 3 hours today. I have so much love for all of you. You guys have shown so much support. For everybody who participated in the live stream today, whether you were just watching, whether you participated in the live chat, whether you joined late, whether you watched the whole thing, thank you all so much. Your support means so much to this channel, and we have a very positive, bullish outlook on the markets for the second half of the year. And with that being said, many more investors, I'm sure many new investors, a whole new wave of investors are going to be entering into the market once we do get the elimination of that PDT trading rule. And just overall, there is always more order flow, always more investors hopping into the markets. And despite the sell-off that we saw with Robinhood today, they had nothing but basically positive things to say, including that the order flow is still on a steady base, having year-over-year growth. And overall, in my opinion, going long short right now, being long on the short side is very dangerous when we've already had such a retraction in so many different assets. Many bears think that the markets need to drop to fill the gap on the S&P and the triple Qs because it doesn't make sense that, you know, it was Taco Tuesday that lifted up the markets. But same thing as last year. I remember so many haters were saying that the markets need to collapse to absolutely nothing and that avocados were going to shoot to $1,000 an avocado, $500 an Oreo, $50 million for a piece of bread. I'm joking, but so many were so fearful of the tariffs. And just like that Mark Twain quote, most of the fears never ended up even being true. So that is exactly how I see the second half of the markets, second half of the year for the markets. And I like this comment from Eric Poley with the clapping and also with the green, because this is going to be a very green second half of the year for the bulls, in my opinion. Eric, again, I have a Charles Schwab. I just need to purchase my Kraken robotics. I'm very bullish on technology, AI, robotics, everything like that for the second half of the year, including this channel of Green Money Momentum. In my opinion, this is only the beginning of Green Money Momentum. And recently, I've actually started to see a few more subscribers pour in. And so for everybody who is here, who showed support, you guys, again, are all the OGs. You get an OG ticket, and many of you have a wrench here because you show so much support to the channel. Thank you to all. Thank you to Stephanie for the super chat. Two Wheels Pursuit, thank you so much, my friend. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, handshakes to you. You've basically been in every single live stream, and you show so much support, and you were here for the entire 3 hours. So I'm happy that you could be entertained by this as much as I am entertained, and I'm happy that we're all able to communicate. Eric, thank you for being here. Chris Son, another day, another trade, and everybody else. Everybody else who is here, it looks like there needs to be a designated driver, and I'm out of here. So thank you guys so much. We got 40 seconds left. I'm going to officially hit the end of stream button here at 3 hours. Incredible that we had a 3-hour live stream. I'll reiterate just one more time. I'm bullish on the markets. I'm excited for the second half of the year. Everybody who was here, you are all awesome. I'm excited in general. Man, what a day. What a day. The next time I will be going live will be next Tuesday for Big Bear AI's earnings, which I know many of you have shown interest in this live stream. So if you want to join me on a live, I will be live on Sunday and next Tuesday. Otherwise, thank you all for being here, and I will see you all in tomorrow's Daily Talk of Stock.